And off to the races. Champions League Season 4 Losers Finals. This means you win this one, you go to the grand finals. You lose this one, you're third. So that's what's happening here. In the left-hand corner of the map, playing as Oranos. His name is Mista. Moska's playing this Oranos. He's got himself the gold mine on the back here. This is actually really, really nice when you're playing against Shenong. We'll talk about it a little bit later. His opponent today, off the back of a very, very big win against Recon. His name is the Retold. Tons and tons of games have been played to lead up to this point. I heard from Tunison earlier today, earlier this week, that he played around about 100 games versus Mista in like a week, and like 400 games total or something. There's been an insane amount of Age Mythology being played to prepare for this moment here. Let's take a look at the relics and see what we can find out. We've got the Titan's Treasure over here. It's a very nice relic, helping to push you into the next stage of the game, get into Heroic Age, get into Mythic Age a little bit quicker. In the top side of the map here, we've got ourselves the Canopic Jar of Imseti. Infantry train time minus 25% there. That's always nice. In the middle of the map here, we do have ourselves the Fur of Boit, which is the healable heroes regeneration rate plus 0.25 per second there. And finally, at the bottom of the map, there is the Cathara of Apollo, which is going to be a little bit of movement speed for the villagers so they can escape a raid or something like that. Now, this is really interesting. We've got a hyper-aggressive Civ on the side of Mista. And Mista actually decides to go for Prometheus here, which is a little bit surprising. But a hyper-aggressive Civ with Mista versus a hyper-defensive Civ for the Retold. And Retold has also got himself somewhat of a forward gold mine here. Somewhat of a forward gold mine. And in fact, this is... Am I wrong on this? This is a Chronos Rush build from Mista. He has rushed this classical age out incredibly fast. He's dropping the Valors down onto the villagers already. It's going to be going into a counter barracks to kick this one off, because what's the answer here for dealing with the Prometheans? Well, it's going to be a couple of pioneers, but you still have to deal with the Yatsa, which Terma don't do very well at all. As we do see an extra cheeky little Oracle coming through. We do have a little Sky Lantern playing Dodgem cards here with this Terma, as the Terma have dealt with that. And Retold here, he's in position to defend against this initial Promethean. Mista walks across the map, spots just a little bit, pulling back. Definitely don't want to be losing this guy for free, nor do you really want to trade HP on that Yatsa there, because he can just pull back and then heal in the main base. However, Terma, they are in. He's going to have to turn around and start getting a couple of smacks off away here, as Retold will just get a couple of whacks in, pull back into his main base. Terma trying to get close in to get a little bit more damage. You've also got to be somewhat careful, as the Valors will come down onto those Terma very, very quickly in the main base here. A couple of Halberdiers actually starting to get queued up now for Retold, as tiny little bits of damage onto these villagers to come through, as there's not been any farms placed down by the Retold, but he can go for them. He just has to wait for a little bit more food, a little bit more of that wood in. That being said, he's also probably going to be wanting to get some Javelineers and things like that, but Mista just starting to ramp up the pressure here. Getting tiny little bits of taps away onto those Halberdiers, as the Yachts are going to be diving around in this position, as the Kwafu will take a little bit of damage. You really do not need to worry all too much about this if you're Retold. You just need to be ready to drop those farms down. So he could stop building any Javelineers, drop the double farms down, and he's going to be very, very safe. May actually heal up the Kwafu as well. But nonetheless, Mista still just looking for this early little bit of pressure. You do have to also remember that Retold has got himself lightning weapons in this matchup. So you've got to be scared of that. Shockwave as a disengage tool is going to be something to keep up at all times, as Retold pops forward. And Javelin here trying to get max value out of this one as this Kwafu is getting incredibly low in HP. And Rappel will finally say, okay, I'm going to pull back. Hero Terma does end up getting taken out here as the Javelineers have now got themselves that ghostly hue on their spears, on their halberdiers, which does mean, well, on their polearms? I don't know what you call them. But this means now we can't get close to these halberdiers. If you get close, you're going to lose a Terma. There's no way you're getting away from them. The snare is incredibly strong, but you can space a little bit here and just try and get one throw and then run back and all that other good stuff. But now the farms are up for Rappel. His gold mine is going to be very, very safe here. Behind this, what's actually happening? We've seen an economic guild. No upgrades in just yet. We've seen a side sky passage. Citizens are now starting to get... Are they getting manually heroized or am I going crazy? No, they mustn't be. There's... Never mind. There's 8 hero citizens in for Mosca. This is really, really interesting. Mosca is doing a build order, which Soup was doing, but he's doing it in a very different way. He's seen what Soup says and he's like, what if I put pressure on, make you think that I'm going all in, but I'm going to take a gigantic economic lead behind this. Look at this. All of the citizens just getting heroized at this point, and he's got himself the upgrade through on the economic guild as well. So that's Theft of Fire. That's going to be a huge amount of economy to come through for Mosca, but it does take time to pay off. That's the big worry here. It takes time to pay off. And Rappel is going to wander forward here. He does see a couple of hero citizens, but seeing 2 hero citizens on the front, that's just like, well, those are the Valors, right? What Rappel is probably going to be thinking here, given the information that he's seen, is that there's a heroic age coming for him. And there is a heroic age coming for him, but without question, it's going to be a very, very powerful heroic age. A military barracks getting dropped, 2 military barracks getting dropped. There is an angle here for Mosca. It doesn't quite work when you do it this way. I can't imagine the timings would be messed up, but there is an angle to go into a whole bunch of Prometheans, a whole bunch of units, and take that advantage. We do see sneaky little sky passage up to the top coming through there, as well as the sky lanterns getting taken down. We have got Rappel sneaking off to the left side of the map, searching for any little bits of sky passage shenanigans. He hasn't spotted it just yet. It's just 1 hunt pack away from where you would expect. But this is classic Uranos as the citizen wanders over here. Rappel does spot. He missed it. Rappel misses the citizen going to the corner of the map there. Watchtowers might be a necessity at the moment, though, for Mosca. You can always just leave your base as well. You really don't want to be dropping... You really don't want to be dropping a temple in these sorts of positions. There's little bits of damage to come through as the Javelineers are going to be spacing beautifully from Rappel. This is what Rappel does best. Great control, though, from both players. Look at that control. Great dodges from the Rappel. So the temple is slowly going to be going down. Hyperion is through, which does now mean Mosca's going to be able to spend his resources in a little bit of a different way. And we'll see what's going on here. Meanwhile, the Terma hopping forward. We've got the lanterns continuously getting sniped here as that temple is getting closer and closer to falling. There's also an angle to drop that shockwave in. That being said, you might want to hold off on it as the army retreats back over here into this position. And he will be... Oh, he still hasn't revealed it. I mean, there's not much food left. The villagers will have to leave. But they could leave down this angle here. They could very easily wander down here, delete this sky passage, pop a sky passage over onto this position. No problems there. Rappel not sending those sky lanterns off into the corner. That's going to hurt. Temple getting repaired up here from this hero citizen. Because you got Theft of Fire, it's a really big deal. Mosca still idle on this position. He's going to pop through here. He can come up onto this spot. He can try and sneak all the way over here if he wants. He can come back into his main base. He's going onto the herdables, which isn't a terrible idea. Another sky passage into the center of the map here as well, as he does have that heroic age in. And now a second temple actually coming through for Mosca. Is this just to pump out oracles as fast as he humanly can? It's gotta be. Because here's the thing, if you play one town center, one town center in this specific matchup, there is an angle for the Oranos player to just take a massive lead in sort of favor gain, and you can already kind of see this. He's got 7 oracles out at the moment. 7. Meanwhile, Ballet coming up for Rappel on this position. Over here, one little cheeky halberdier causing some issues. Could just heroize that, fight back. That's an angle there. As we do have some units running forward. So any sort of reaction to this? There's so much going on for these players that you don't want to overreact to anything. Meanwhile, chilling over onto this position, checking things out as the main base is going to be the next port of call here for Mosk. He says, I got to my heroic age. I got my economic advantage. He's paid off the amount of hero citizens he's got. He's got 17 hero citizens there. That's those hero citizens. You have to imagine they are like having like 2.5 villages or something, right? Like how much are they gathering? They're at 2. That's like having 2 villages. I don't think he's got himself. He does have husbandry. Yeah, it's like this. Like this hero citizen is gathering at the same rate as a villager. Like, look at this, 0.56 as 4 peasants. 1 hero citizen on herdables with husbandry is gathering at like 4 of those peasants there. Now we are going to be seeing this tech coming through for Rappel. He's grabbing East Wind. This is really, really key because you need to be using this to scout out the oracles, to spot sky passages, as the Mamillo on the back here to defend this. Very, very important thing here that Rappel is doing. He is hunting oracles at this moment. One idea for Mosca is to make an effort to get himself out a couple of oracle over here getting spotted, is to get himself out a couple of halberdier here to be just playing some defense. But other idea is to just continue to build these guys as they get sniped. But this is definitely an idea that we saw from Recon. Great control there, as is always from Rappel. Keeps his White Horse Cavalry alive. I don't see any sages in this army here. No, there's no sages there, but got to be careful with the White Horse Cavalry as well, running around the map, because you don't want to lose them either. But there is a movement speed advantage to some degree here. 5 speed versus 6 speed at the moment. They're not going to be able to go any faster than 6 speed, which does mean that something like the Hero Catapulties are a really, really nice counter to that, as the army getting caught out over onto this top side. Mosca going to be pulling back now for the time being. Lontarius are going to be searching off onto the bottom side of the map, looking for anything to attack. But at the moment, Rappel is heavily situated in the center here. He's got this gold mine. So the idea here, I think, for Mosca has got to be looking for a gold trap here, here, and here. So if we can get in onto this gold mine with a palace, that's going to be life being very, very tricky for the Rappel, as these White Horse Cavalry do get spotted over onto this side. Mosca looking for any little bit of damage here into the main base, but the army pulls back in here, and Mosca's got to be a little bit careful, and he will pull back out of this position, no problems, as the halberdiers, the master of weaponry halberdiers, say, get out of here into the main base. One Baihu is having a little bit of a trouble here. Does nom down on a random citizen there. Is Mosca not paying attention with that one? Meanwhile, he says, okay, maybe we can make an attack onto this position. You do have to remember both players have got some very, very big god powers here. Wooden Wall getting taken down. Baihu comes forward. Mosca feeling like he's got somewhat of an advantage here as he charges in. Those Satyr numbers are looking incredibly big. No usage of the Chaos just yet, but fighting underneath the Ballet, as onto the back line there, the Fey Beast comes through. The Satyr are in to put that to rest, though, as one Fey Beast remains, takes that one down. Is there enough stuff here? There is also this lightning weapons getting dropped as Mosca continuing to try and push through onto this position. Those destroyers going after the Ballet here. They're getting stunned up. There's a shockwave to retreat away from this, but it looks to me like Rappel holds here for the moment. It's not end of the world here for Mosca, but that was a good trade for the Rappel. Mosca here, what he did in this position is he's limited the ability to get to the Mythic Age. So now Rappel has to stay in the heroic age a little longer. What Rappel needs to do is be securing this gold mine. This is very, very important over onto this right side. We do have the White Horse Cavalry coming through. There's no sky passage. There is a sky passage over here, so he can very simply come through this position and take out those White Horse Cavalry if he wants to. I'm still looking at this top gold mine going, that gold mine is so important for Moscow. As this Baihu getting chased down, that one's going to be getting cleaned up. The sky passage on the top gets taken out. Does make life a little bit tricky to get up onto this position. And Moscow still going to be going in for a whole bunch of these destroyers. Destroyers are a very, very powerful unit in this matchup because there's not an amazing counter to them. You got Dao as an idea as the Ontarios coming through. They're all low HP though. But yeah, there's no amazing counter to the destroyers with the exception of like Dao Swordsman with the divine damage. Still no heavy infantry here as the gold income getting a little bit out of control. Also a cheeky little Qinglong going to be entering the party into the main base. These raids, it's getting a little bit annoying here for Moscow to deal with. Rappel has taken the score advantage for the time being. So we'll see if Moscow can get out of this bind. He needs wood, he needs food, he needs upgrades here. Very, very important. Very quickly, Moscow's got his armory upgrades, got the same armory upgrades as Rappel, as the fight to come into this main base here is the destroyers. Tanking up a lot here against those fire archers, as we do have the shockwave onto the siege weapons there for the time being. And it looks like here, now Rappel, looks like he has been pushed back a little bit. He doesn't have the right units in here to deal with these Arcus. As some more White Horse Cavalry to come through. The population differential is incredibly close here for the moment. As now the heavy infantry is in, but Moscow doesn't have that much food. He's got Hunt all over the map, and he's got resources coming in all over the map as well, but struggling to keep this army going here as these siege crossbows doing tons of damage, but the chaos comes down at the end here. Is this going to be enough to break out of this bind? Still a ton of favor in the bank. And I hear a Baihu to come through. He could heroize one of those Wuzu Javelineer or something. But Moscow's going to say, all right, time to pull back for the time being here. As the Baihu is going to get picked off. And Moscow needs another gold mine. He needs a little bit more time here in this game. I mean, he can pop over into this position, over onto this gold mine. He has lost control of the map. This gold mine now for Rappel has been secured. And Moscow just not able to win the fights in this game just yet. Into the sky passage. She's going to be diving, looking for somewhere else to go. So the sky passage goes down. Up onto the top side. Sky passage grabbed by Moscow here. He doesn't have a sky passage over onto this side. He doesn't have one onto this side. If he wants to play a little bit of delay tactics here, it's going to be very, very tough, just given that the bottleneck is going to be gold. So what Rappel can start thinking about is get over here, walls, get this all sorted out for the time being. Now, one thing to remember here is this army for Rappel is not as big as it looks. These siege towers are, not siege towers, siege crossbows are expensive. They're costing 300 resources apiece. Take 900 rests off of this army here. But Moscow continuing to try and take these fights. He just doesn't have the numbers here anymore. But he does still have Shockwave coming up very, very shortly. As the Satyrs getting pushed back. And he's not able to win this fight just at all. And it's looking like Rappel has found himself a significant advantage. Now, all of this advantage is just inside of these resources here. This resource differential. I don't think there's an advantage on economy. I think it's just a 2,000 resource advantage in terms of military here. Is there an armory upgrade advantage? Not really for Rappel, not yet. Hero Arcus getting converted in. He's got to try and take out that Qinglong there. As the walls are coming up onto the top side. Sky passage over here as the heavy White Horse Cavalry getting sent around the map looking for those raids. Citizens coming up to this top gold mine there as well. Is this a Kwafu going for a town center right in the center here as well? Mosca is trying to wait for his moment to pounce here, but that timing for him to actually get something done is slowly coming to a close here, it looks like. He has still got gold. He's still got a chance in this game, but there's going to be Zhurong coming through. There's going to be a Blazing Prairie. There's going to be a lot of issues to have to deal with as the army charges in here. Hero units onto that Qinglong is going to be really important there as that lightning weapons gets dropped down, and Mosca, he can drop into the Sky Passage, pop a Sky Passage on the back here, delay for a little bit longer. That's an angle there, but he's deciding, let's take a little bit of a fight as Rappel's army absolutely eviscerating the front line. As the Satyr pulling back, he's not quite able to hold against that fight, but he doesn't lose everything, so he's still got somewhat of a fighting chance here. As I keep on saying this, more Contarius to come through here in an effort to push back. A lot of these units are not that useful against what Mosca's got, but it's just a numbers game. It doesn't matter if they're not useful if he's at 190 pop. As now, Rappel, he could think about even a third town center if he wants. More units are starting to come in. Mosca's going to be dropping himself a palace over onto this side. As Rappel's economy is starting to balloon out of proportion here. That Mythic Age will be coming through. There's really no need to make a gigantic push here. You do give your opponent a little bit of play as these Contarius have got an eye on the bottom side here. Picking off some villages is going to be the best way for him to keep himself in this game, so to speak, but he does need a quick return into this main base. As the Satyr gets stunned up there, the villagers down onto the bottom do get picked off, but as they get picked off, the siege towers are going to be cleaning up stuff in this main base. Even if this Sky Passage falls, these citizens can pop another Sky Passage up. He can return back home, or he can pop into... Well, it's not really another one. There is one here. But at the moment, Mosca, he is at full pop. But he is about to be greeted with a Mythic Age God Power, which is a gigantic power spike for Rappel. And as Rappel is killing everything off, he's getting a whole bunch of resources from that Spoils of War tech that comes with Retold. On the front here now, a ballet getting dropped down to secure another gold mine. Villagers over here getting sent packing. As Mosca gets his units back in, taking the fight on the back here. Great control from Mosca to keep the Satyr alive, but there's only one remaining for now, and there's no answers for those Javelin here. Shockwave is not a terrible idea. Town center going down there as the as the foreshadowing of what's to come with the Fire Phoenix of China to come in. Mosca losing his army. He's still got a villager, well, he's got a villager advantage at the moment, which is a big deal. But there's only so much that's gonna matter. I mean, you could rotate down to the bottom and continue to try and make something happen here, but Mosca does call it there. This game was such a good position for Mosca. I loved this strategy. One mistake here. I think the mistake was pushing in chaos and not shockwaving when the lightning weapons came down. Just leave. Just shockwave, run back, and play for this gold mine. We don't need to stop this. I don't think it even matters if the Shenong gets Mythic Age in that scenario either, especially if a palace or two was dropped down on this side. You don't need to spend 2,400 resources going Mythic Age. You drop 2 palace here. You get this position locked off as well. You get oracles spread out over onto this side so that there's no way to move over there. And then Rappel is in a incredibly tough position. Nonetheless, I mean, we take a look at the military resource count. Actually, I'm really interested in this resource count. Look at that advantage Mosca got out of this build. Economically speaking, he had enough to throw away like half an army. And he sort of did that. But in throwing away that half an army, he just wasn't able to keep the pressure going. He couldn't repopulate fast enough. Something about the the resources in that moment, just not enough to get himself going or anything like that. Missing some very crucial upgrades like heavy infantry really hurt in this moment as well. And obviously that unit's killed lost there does tell the tale. Nonetheless, let's jump over to the draft, see what they're going to pick for game number 2. All right, we're going to be going onto the map Anatolia. Yay. A little bit of the Anatolia action as we've got ourselves what looks to be a Zeus versus Hades. A Zeus versus Hades. Let's start sorting out this this shenanigans here. So we've got ourselves the Uranus, unfortunately, they're lost for Mosca. The Shenong won for the Rappel. Mosca in this next game, grabbing his Zeus. Actually, let's put some numbers here. There's a lot to look at in this draft. Shenong here was number 1, and then the Hades, number 2. Who'd have thunk it? We'd start seeing some Greeks as the ace picks here at the moment. Alrighty. Also on the maps. Okay. So we've seen this matchup a ton. I thought maybe we're going to see these players going a slightly different direction with maybe Rappel picking Thor or something. He doesn't have that Thor in his pool. Mosca does. But obviously there's the Odin Thor there as well. And very, very spicy to see them not go that way. There is also the Mirage to get picked as well, so you could potentially see a Norse god getting picked there, though you miss out on those very, very useful hammer ships. Of course, we've got some other, like Ghost Lake for Thor. There's a whole bunch of really nice maps here and all the other good stuff. But yeah, we're going to be jumping into this game momentarily, guys. The guys are already on their way, so yeah, we are in a best of 7 at the moment. So there's a lot of stuff. Let's check out, before we jump into it, let's just check out these map stats just a little bit more. As you can actually see, surprisingly, this matchup has been an incredibly successful matchup from the Hades side of things. Now, this doesn't really mean anything, to be completely honest. It doesn't really mean anything. Like, a 3-0 in a tournament where I would argue that 90% of the games have been won on skill. Let's not go 90%. Let's say 95% have been on skill. Maybe even 100% of these have been on skill. It's very difficult for me to come up with one situation where where there wasn't a road to victory for anyone. So we look at these stats and we try and make some sort of reasoning behind what they mean. But in reality, what they actually mean is one player played really good. And so far, it's just been Hades. Let's get into this second game on the map Anatolia and see how these players are going to make it happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, into game number 2 here in the top of the map, playing as the Blue Zeus. His name is Mosca. Currently down 0-1. I think he got the exact start that he wanted. Oh, I've got this as a problem. Let me fix this. I think Mosca got the exact start that he wanted, but unfortunately, he just could not convert the position that he got. I think he threw Rappel a curveball and that curveball was dealt with really, really nicely. But I think if Mosca played that game 10 more times, and Rappel played that exact same way, I think Mosca probably wins that one 9 times out of 10. So he's got to have that in the back of his head. No, my strategies, my thought process, my decision making, it's good. We got to keep going along this way. Rappel, on the other hand here, he gets away with it. Whether or not he knows he got away with it, that is going to be something that only he knows here. So did he know that Mosca went for a crazy amount of hero citizens mid or early classical age there? Maybe we can ask him afterwards. But he's got to be thinking about this game now. He got the win. You forget that last game. Regardless, both players need to just be just be like immediately forgetting everything as they have to. You just got to be like a fish. Something happened, doesn't matter. Let's go off and do the other thing. Like nothing you don't remember. So yeah, this is super, super important. So we'll see how they're going to go. If there's going to be anything slightly off center here, most important thing is to ensure that you know what your opponent is doing on the land at all times. No guesswork here. You have to know, are they going heroic age? Are they going for classical units? Like land units? Are they going to be pumping out ships? I mean, you can see them pumping out ships because they're going to be attacking you with them. If they just build ships and leave them there idle, generally that doesn't really do anything. But even so, still scouting is going to be the big factor, the big key factor to success for the moment. All right, guys. Top of the map. Mosca. He's got himself the fishing spots. Both players have got the fishing spots. We're seeing a third dock already from Rappel. Rappel's already got 4 docks up. Well, he's going for a 4th dock right now. Whereas Mosca, he's playing this differently. He's only got 2 docks. Fishing ship differential, 12 to 9. So Rappel is behind on the fishing ships. But he's playing around a lot of potential cheese. So for example, goat's getting stolen. So for example, like random villagers coming down and shanking and all that other good stuff. No temple in the main base just yet for Mosca. He's going to get his gold in. On the other side here for Rappel, obviously he is still a long way away from getting everything sorted. And the big question is, how much does it matter what your age up is on this map? When you know what your opponent's doing, because they've scouted it, this is important. Like Rappel, he's kind of spotted. He spotted the dock here. He didn't spot a dock over here, so he doesn't really know. I think it's a little bit of a mistake from Rappel that he won't be feeling unless he actually does end up getting caught out by it. But effectively, you want to know your opponent's going for 18 fish or going for double docks on both sides. And in that case, you go, okay, how much does my late advance actually affect me? Well, the answer is it affects you insofar as this technology is effectively like boosting your fishing ship numbers up by 1.5x, right? So if they get in front of you there, they get more food in, they're going to have a better game than you just because they have a few more resources. So that's where the big important part is. But the differential series is probably about 15 seconds. So it's not going to be that big of a deal. Meanwhile, another technology that's getting brought in for Rappel is going to be this Vaults of Erebus. He's got 3 villages on the temple, and he is grabbing relics for the first time ever. For the first time ever, we are seeing some relics in. Let's go. Normally, I look at this and I'm like, why don't we see players? Why don't we see top players going for relics? And generally, it's because they're really, really busy with their units. Ooh. Oh, no. Disaster strikes. Disaster strikes. Oh, no. Oh, no. Rappel. Oh, no. Well, you're going to have to forget about it. You can chop this tree down. I would take these villagers off, chop this tree down, get my Minotaur to escape here. Mosca probably sees it and he's like, hello there, good sir. More relics are coming in. Hestia's Hearth here to boost up that villager train time as well. Or reduce the villager train time, I should say. As the market coming down for Mosca. He's going to be getting a couple of boats out straight away, getting that Juggernaut, going to be looking for a little bit of early pressure. Hades does have the advantage in this matchup and in any matchup of just saying, well, if you build a Juggernaut, it doesn't really matter because I've got 21 or 22 range fishing ships. Or docks. Wait, does he? Am I wrong on this? He's got 20 range docks, whereas everyone else has got 18 range docks. So you can't outrange the dock with the Juggernaut. Well, what you can do is you can just sit here and start sieging this. So that's a perfectly valid angle to go for. As the food and gold is starting to creep up here for Mosca. And Rappel doing the same. He's a little bit short on the resources. He does actually go for an armory here. Normally, I think this is not the best of ideas because generally speaking, you actually want to sell some of this food in the bank after you click up to the next stage, or if you overgrab food, you want to sell some of that food for extra gold so that you can pump out the boats a little bit faster than your opponent, because that's what is generally going to be needed. But nonetheless, heroic fleet coming through for Rappel. Is he actually chopping the thing down? He's not. I'm surprised he didn't. I would have just gone, oh well, let's just chop this down. It'll take a couple of like a minute to chop the tree down, and I'll have my Minotaur out. But Mosca, for the moment, I actually know what happened to his Minotaur. Where is he? Oh, he's down here. His Minotaur's just hanging out. He's just like, what's happening over here? Let me just make sure you can't get up an extra dock down on the bottom or something. That's the plan there, I think, from Mosca. As the walls are already completely up, there's no entrance into this base for the moment. The Minotaur will be freed eventually. One villager and a dream. It's got 40 wood remaining. 30 wood remaining. It's going to get out. Walls, houses, and stuff coming down for Mosca as well as the Skylar pops out, and a whole boatload of Skylar getting queued up here immediately for Mosca. This is the big advantage of playing Zeus in this matchup, is the fact that you get that favor boost early on. Hades doesn't. You have to wait till the heroic gauge. You have to get yourself golden apples, and then you get the favor boost in. So you're going to be behind regardless. Plus, you also spent 15 favor on a thingamajiggy, on a technology, as we do already have ourselves the myth unit bonus multiplier there on the trireme. Up onto the top side here. Mosca trying to break forward here. There is also a Skylar over here that could, simply put, just get bolted. That is still an option. As the Pegasus up here as well. We did see that Skylar getting bolted as the boat's getting pushed back up onto the top side here. There's so many ships in for the Rappel, but the counter boats are here for Mosca as he charges forward, loses one Skylar, but still slowly getting damage onto those trireme as there is now heavy trireme in. Mosca not going for his upgrade here, missing that. This is something I've been seeing quite a lot that's been getting missed. It's an incredibly important technology. It boosts these boats up a ton in terms of HP and damage. It's the Pentaconta coming through. That will end up falling there, but so too does the Skylar as those trireme pushing forward, and Mosca to pull back. He will have to start thinking, how is he going to deal with those Pentacontas? One thing that Mosca does have, but it's not really worth doing, is grabbing this tech. That can be a nice way to kind of keep your Skylar going, but the trireme are an amazing answer to the Skylar here. As the heavy Pentaconta coming in here and over onto this side as the attack happens both ways. But there's just so many Juggernauts for Mosca. Juggernaut Skylar, the answer here, he says, if I can just take down the trireme fast enough, then my Skylar will carry through. But in doing this, he will end up potentially losing this right side of the water. So he wins the left side potentially here and loses the right side. So after all is said and done, it's going to be a fairly equal game. But who finishes the docks off first is the big question. As Mosca going to pull his boats back into the dock there, into the middle of the map. We do see a couple of hoplites, Toxotes, as Mosca is going to be everywhere on the map at once. Dock here going down for the Rappel as Mosca does technically draw first blood, but Mosca has had his boats completely idled here. So Rappel is, even though he's lost the water, he's technically in front here. As the army charging forward, Mosca does need to be paying attention here, but so too does Rappel as the stun comes through. Mosca not retreating. These are pacifists. It's not a good fight for Mosca at all. Now he says, all right, let's get out of here. As that Jason getting snared up on the retreat. There is also a couple of very, very important heroes. And there's a curse, though. The curse is going to be very, very big. It's Mosca trying to get some more fish back out. The dock will end up getting cleaned up. There is an important... there is a little bit of urgency here, I think, for Mosca to get his fishing ships out. There's a food and gold advantage right now for Rappel, as I think he wants to get Mythic Age. Artemis to come in and to look to deny Hera, which is often going to be... I would actually say it's probably a mistake at the moment for Mosca to be going Hera. He needs to put full pressure on. Now we don't care about getting Earthquake. Now we don't care about that Mythic Age. We don't care about a Hephaestus either. We're just going to be looking for a full, heavy, bronze, heroic age army and full pressure in, which what's Rappel going to do to be able to stop that? He just put 2,400 resources into the Mythic Age. He should be in a difficult position as Mosca's going to pull back. He's getting all of his technologies through. Still hasn't grabbed the fishing ships over here as things are a little bit chaotic. Over onto this side there. Looks like Mosca is able to hold his water on the bottom side as well. So that's a gigantic advantage for him. Over onto this side now. More military academies coming down. Not really playing around the Earthquake. I mean, maybe he has played around the Earthquake. I don't know how large the radius is, but these houses are quite split off from that main town center. There's a couple more Pentacontas to come through. Fishing ships popping out. I want to think about leaving those in here just so he has an answer, as Rappel is going to keep spamming out units. He's also going to get himself a free myth unit for well, the Karkanos to actually help take this all out as well, as more upgrades coming through for Mosca. He has to know that a Mythic Age is coming through, but the gold is at 600. So Rappel is going to need to leave his base to get a second gold mine. This is incredibly tense, but Mosca doesn't have vision. And this is going to be the thing that bites everyone in the bum when they're going for these sorts of moves. You need to have eyes on this. You need to have eyes on this. You have to have eyes on this. Easiest way is to don't build a fortress here. Build the fortress forward. Take this position, right? And then everyone over onto this bottom side just watching out as Mosca charges for that Nemean line. Got so much value there with the stun. A couple of hoplites do end up falling, and that's very important there for the Rappel. The Rappel hits Mythic Age. Mythic Age brings with it Burning Pitch. A couple more upgrades to come through. But like the gold expiring, this is so tense right now. The gold expiring, how much can he get out of the market? There's a decent amount of wood that he can kind of make something happen here as the town center will go down. Houses will go down as well. A couple will go down, but he's got plenty of stuff remaining after this earthquake. He really doesn't have to panic here. Pump units, he's down to 124 pop is the big question. As the army coming through, there is this Chimera in that's going to be a little bit of an issue. No favor for there is favor for a second bolt, and he's going to drop that down there as the units charging in onto this position. Bronze gets dropped down. Curse comes through as well as Rappel, simply put, just pulls back. Villagers now making their way over onto this gold mine, and now is the time for Mosca to strike here. He's lost all of his fish over onto this right. He's trying to make something happen on the bottom side here. The heroes coming through are going to try and take out that Minotaur. They will be able to do so. Toxotes here versus Peltast is never an easy fight, but good control from Mosca. He's going to push in with the hoplites to try and take these guys out as the villagers over onto the gold. There's so much gold in the bank for Mosca at the moment, but Rappel is happily onto his gold mine. He's gotten his Mythic Age through. He's taken the town center out. And now what for Mosca? Rappel is in full control here. Great control with the Toxotes, pulling them back, taking out the right units. Good control there from Rappel as well to pull those back. But more units are going to be coming forward here. More Hypaspis joining in onto the fight here as the Toxotes do need to be microing. You can micro off to the side to drag the Peltas one way, but he's just losing too much stuff as it's feeling like Rappel has got an incredible incredible grasp on the game for the moment here. He's also got this incredible technology, pre-queued shafts of plague that comes through, and then those heavy peltas end up being incredibly strong. But the game there does end for Mosca as he's just not able to stabilize after this earthquake. I don't fully understand what went so wrong here for Mosca. Like, the earthquake on the town center, it's like, fine. Like, you killed off a town center. This doesn't really help you in this position, right? This doesn't help you in this position where you're trying to get onto the gold mine. Kill off my town center, that's 700 resources down the drain. That doesn't really matter. Kill off a couple of houses. That doesn't matter either. Didn't kill off any production. The income is here for Moscow. You can fight this down 20 villages. It doesn't matter as long as you've got an army. And there's restoration. Obviously, there's restoration for both players. Why did Mosca not click restoration? Well, you want to click restoration second. The person who clicks it second is going to be able to have the advantage in those fights. And Rappel knows that as well, as he's just holding on to it. But maybe the angle here was actually to just get to some Skylar out rather than hoplites. Because what beats those Apaspist? What beats those Peltas? Of course, the heroes are going to be there. So you do need some units to actually kill off the heroes. But if you had like 3 Hydras out instead of that Bolt, for example, maybe things would have been a little bit different here. But nonetheless, game 2 in the books. Rappel up now 2-0 as we jump back over to the draft. Alrighty, our next map here is going to be going in onto Ghost Lake. In onto Ghost Lake. So we've got ourselves the win there for the Zeus. Nope, the loss there for the Zeus, the win there for the Hades. And our matchup is going to be Ra versus Odin. Now, remember, this is a best of 7, so very, very long series here. Very, very long series, and not the easiest of matchups right now for Rappel. He does have his main god, Odin. Against Ra, Ra's got some nastiness in store here. You've got, if it's a 1 gold mine Ghost Lake, you've got a whole bunch of Sphinx, Spearman, Axeman type ideas, which can hit that second gold mine really, really nice. You've got the Wadjet ideas, you've got classical fights, you've got shifting sands and all that stuff. If it's a 2 gold mine Ghost Lake, you can play a 2 town center classical fight type idea. Rappel's really good in that sort of a situation though. So there is that too. Is main god still a well, I mean, there's not really a main god, but there's gods that players are very, very comfortable with. So yeah, Rappel said that his main god's Odin, and Mosca said that his main god is Poseidon, if they have to pick one. All the series today are best of 7, guys. All the series are best of 7. So yeah, nothing to worry about. We got tons and tons of games to come through. We're still just waiting. I think Rappel had to go to the bathroom, so we've got just a little bit of waiting here. Oh, there we go. They are off to the races. As we've got ourselves a bit of time here to wait. But we could talk a little bit about what you can do to overcome some of these problems. So If it does end up being Sphinx, a whole bunch of those, if you are expecting like Sphinx or something there, you can kind of go for like Goaty. You can get a quick heroic Asian, go for Frost Giants and things like that. But I mean, another angle is kind of to go for Berserk, right? Because you got that technology which helps them against myth units a little bit. So you can kind of have some nice Berserks and some Hersa mixed in. Do you think I've got slacks on or wearing shorts? What do you think? All right, guys. I mean, you have to sort of think about this from the mental standpoint for Moscow as well, right? Like at this stage of the tournament, being down 0-2, you've actually just lost 5 games in a row when you think about it if you're Moscow, which is probably the most games in a row he's probably ever lost. 5 games in a row, he lost 3-0 versus Mista. He's now 0-2 versus the Rapple. It's a best of 7, so I mean, this is still like you've still got that one last game to throw, so to speak. But you really don't want to be. You don't want to be throwing this one. You've got to win this one here if you're Moscow. Because if you lose this one, then all of a sudden you have to reverse sweep 4 games. That being said, there's Fushi, there's Isis, there's Kronos. There's a lot of really strong gods remaining for Moscow, and Rapple has used 2 of his priority picks. Rapple's still got Skiomi. He's still, oh man, Rapple's god picks also look really like. I mean, I'm looking at these gods just going, wait, is every god not just really good at this point? Like, I'm that's what I'm looking. That's what I'm seeing. Every god is just really good. So, saving strong god picks for the end, I don't know, man. I think that I don't think that's really going to be much of an idea. I guess we can take a quick look at the actual stats here for this matchup while we go through. Before we go through. Over here, we've got the Ra having a 1 win to 0 losses at the moment in this matchup for the entirety of the tournament. But yeah. Alrighty. So just a little bit of time until we get into this next game. I guess the big question is just going to be whether this is a 2 gold mine Ghost Lake or not. And then how you play it is going to matter as well. There's actually no. There is one idea here for the Odin, which I want to see. We'll see if Rapple is gonna go for that. We'll see if Rapple is gonna go for that. There's one idea I think for Odin here that can really upset a lot of Ra openings and make them have a lot of tricky a lot of trouble, so to speak. But nonetheless, there's no more waiting, guys. Let's get into this next game. Ghost Lake is the map. Matchup Ra versus Odin. Let's go. right, ladies and gentlemen, in the right-hand corner of the map, in the blue color, currently down 0-2. It is Mosca. And we see the double gold mine situation here. Whether this is something that Mosca wanted to see or not wanting to see, I don't really know. I don't actually know what the chances of 1 gold mine or 2 gold mine is on this map either. I believe it's 50-50, but I'm really not that sure. His opponent today, on his favorite god, on his main god, on the god that he has had so much success with in the past, it is the Rapple. Goats getting stolen in the middle of the map here. This hurts for Mosca. He's so close to the goats. He's not going to get that. Wait, he might. He got him. He got the goats. He stole them back. And an obelisk to come down as well, right in the face of Rapple, just to give himself a little bit of information. Now, let's take a quick look at the actual map of Rapple. Gold mine on the right and gold mine on the left is really, really key. For one, you can defend this gold mine really easily. But two is, if the units push and pressure over here, we can just rotate the villagers over onto the left side, and they can be really safe here. So the slow army of the Egyptian will have to move all the way around, unless he does decide to go for Sphinx. Which, I don't want to call it too soon, because this can still be a tar angle for Mosca. But this does look like a Bast opening at the moment. This does look like a Bast opening. Now, we haven't seen this in forever. There was this point throughout Age of Mythology's kind of lifespan where we saw mass Sphinx plus Axeman absolutely terrorizing Norse players for many months. Now, some Norse players were getting to the level where they started to be able to beat that strategy, but it did end up getting, the Sphinx did end up getting nerfed down to 20 favor now, so it's a very, very pricey unit, but still very, very powerful. But Mosca's got 2 monuments, he's getting his temple up. Not a 3rd monument just yet. If there's a time to put it up, it's normally after you advance, not before, because it helps you get a competitive age up to defend against anything that's going to come your way. As we do have the Great Hunt in the main base there, just to get an extra Auroch in. And it is going to be Bast. Now, the big question is, yeah, how much do you commit onto going for Sphinx? You don't have to go Sphinx. It could just be the threat of Sphinx. He's already got a couple of villagers over onto wood, so this is looking like this idea from Mosca. Food situation for Rapple is going to be another thing to think about when you're going up against Sphinx raids. Does he have any easy wallable food? Kinda. A little wall here, a little wall over here, and then you can't really get in here. You leave some Hersa over on this side. If the Sphinx come knocking, you just send them packing. The other thing here was this, with this Bast opening, and if it is going to be Sphinx, it might not be, but if it is going to be Sphinx, is you don't have the advantage early on. Forest Fire gets dropped down. Rapple tries to go for the ghost building there. Not fast enough. There's already 2 longhouses set up. Or not longhouses. Lumber camps set up. So no real problems here. He's up to the top. He's going to be completely fine. As there's the classical age hitting as the Sphinx pops out. And he's going to be... I would expect this to actually sit in his base here. Play defense with this one. We've got a barracks coming through for Mosca. 2 barracks coming through, so there's no second town center shenanigans. I would not expect to see the same from Rapple. It does fall pretty flat against like a big all-in, like Eclipse onto the second town center and things like that. Can be very tough to defend that sort of an idea. As the villagers move over here, and we are going to be seeing Axeman and Cryosphinx. As Rapple swings up to the top side. You're looking to put some walls down.
Great.
Priest. Is it going to go down? He's getting healed up. One Axeman to come through. The priest will be able to get into the tower. Great hold there. Good save from Mosca. He's going to be very, very happy about that one. Keeping the priest alive, super important. You want that one here just to be healing everything. Fortunately for Moscow, I don't think this lumber camp is in range, so he's losing out a little bit of the empower rate there. There's so much favor in the bank here for Moscow, but knowing Moscow, he's been throwing a whole bunch of strange like offbeat ideas at Rappel at the moment. So this could just be get to the heroic age and go for Betsukos or something. This could be the actual angle. He is going up for the upgrades for the Haruko Sphinx, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But this could be the angle as some raiding cavalry coming through here. This is not locked off, so there is a way through, but it looks incredibly dangerous. It's kind of like you're running this gauntlet of doom to try and get onto these villages, which I guess Moscow wants Rappel to do that. Meanwhile, walls getting set up all over the place. As Rappel knows, he's kind of on a timer before this matchup flips into he's on the defense. So if he gets those walls up nice and quick, he will be able to move over here and happily eat some caribou. As the wall will be finishing up, and this Sphinx will not be able to get past this one just yet. Rappel has denied a lot of vision here actually as well for Moscow, as he's only got the one obelisk out on the map. So missing out on quite a bit there as the Sphinx numbers will slowly start to climb. Husbandry coming through. Getting himself that sacred cats. The raiding cavalry. Valkyrie coming through. Probably not going to get a villager pick here. Great defense there as well, but just as soon as Moscow leaves his base, this Raven in the middle just spotting everything, and over here, incredibly tough to sort of defend everything, but we see an obelisk coming up onto the front. Got to be very careful here. Axemen coming through, both players. Equal military for the moment. The Sphinx are just so dangerous, though. This Spearman tries to pull back, does get picked off there. There's also Godi now starting to get mixed in. Moscow playing with fire here with that amount of hero. As Moscow says, all right, get me out of here. Pulling back in. The Sphinx going to come through. No. This is not a winning fight here for Moscow, it seems, as Rappel has got more than enough stuff to defend. The Sphinx going to get a couple of smacks off, but he gets back alive there. 39 HP in a dream with that final Sphinx as more Spearmen are coming through. I mean, Spearmen versus the Hearser, it's not the best of units at the moment since the Spearmen got knocked down a peg. Also, you do need some slingers to actually take out the Godi that are going to get built if you want to actually make use of these Sphinx. So units on the back, you're going to get healed back up. And you will see the Sphinx coming over to maybe bash down a wall. He just can't get into this base. You see another wall coming up over here for Rappel. It looks to me like Moscow, he's not building any units anymore. So it looks to me like Moscow is going to be attempting to get to the next age. Popping over here onto this granary for the time being here. The Raven is in a really spicy spot here. We'll be able to see that this is coming up. Moves over, and all of a sudden, Rappel is going to be able to... going to have an option here to move out and try and get something done. I think if Moscow is going heroic age, I really think a third monument would not go astray. Age up first, drop the third monument, and then be looking to add in Betsukos into this army. So raiding cavalry will be moving out across the map. The Sphinx do spot them, but whether Moscow noticed it or not, it's a big question as Moscow moves forward, spots the army there. Will be pulling back into his main base and continuing to play a very, very defensive game. Both players just not wanting to commit to anything. I'd love to see this gold mine getting secured from Rappel really early. Get those walls up over here. Get those sorted out. Because this gold mine out in the open, it's not going to be that useful. But Sobek is already in. Skadi is pre-queued. Rappel's got himself a healthy amount of Godi for the time being. So these these Sphinx aren't going to be that useful, but the Goaty with only... Well, I say with only. They got 17 range, which is not nothing. But Pitsukos can go up to 28 range or something, right? I can't remember. It's 26 or 28, but they can go up to a ton of range, and the Goaty are just going to be very, very difficult to get value. You can sort of freeze the Pitsukos, get the Goaty on top of them, and then that's one way to take them out. But we'll see how it all goes as the sun-dried mud brick comes through. Ads of wet, getting researched. The Sphinx do get greeted by a couple of Goaty. They're still not able to really find any advantage. But look at this. The rock is the key here. There's a second town center for Retold. This is scary for Mosca. Does Mosca know this? He doesn't even... He's got no idea. Rappel's economy will start to pick up here. Second gold mine is secured, though. Got the rock hanging over onto this side. But even if you get... The problem here is with Skadi, with Frost, you don't actually have access to Frost. Frost is off the cards. You have to save that for Eclipse, which does also mean then Mosca doesn't have access to Eclipse. Unless you pick off all of the myth units, in which case we don't care. We'll just drop Frost and it's fine. But I imagine here, as Mosca is now starting to get himself some Camel Riders, that these myth unit numbers will continue to pick up. He's going for the town center. He sees the second town center here, so he's not going to be a little bit late on that reaction there, but it's probably not the end of the world. I would have actually assumed Mythic Age is probably the more solid option, but with your opponent turtling this hard. But nonetheless, settlement coming through for Mosca. Over to this side, he'll fort up for Rappel as the Camel Riders searching. Mosca finishes his town center. He's down 6 villages, which probably isn't as bad as you would think, but it's still not very good. Egyptian villages do gather slower than the Norse ones as well. But there's not a whole bunch of hunt or anything like that, as the spearmen will come over and start poking down these walls. Rappel is so good at playing this defensive game, but he does need to be thinking about this next gold mine because he's got 1,100 remaining over here. Meanwhile, the Camel Rider versus raiding cavalry dynamic of we have exactly the same speed, and we will see a hill fort coming up. Over onto this side, the rock does get landed, and the villagers in the main base, he drops it, but he doesn't get it on top of the dwarves perfectly. Well, what this does do is it kills off all of the goats, though they are already up to 233 food, but still you're reducing that by a pretty large number. As the rock was picked up. Hello? Don't lose these guys. Is there any answer for the rock? Oh no. The Herser are coming in. There's not enough time here. He's trying to play bait and switch as the rock here needs to land. Mosca, he's charging it over onto this side. Hits the villagers over here as over onto this position there. The Camel Riders are going to pull back. And Frost does have to get dropped down here. Too much damage getting dealt by Mosca in that one little move, but the Camel Riders are still stuck in no man's land. There is a little bit of an escape route through the main base here. The units sitting on the back here for the time being as Camel Riders will get pulled back. Now, Eclipse is on the cards. As he's pulling up over onto this side. I like how much population is distracting over here. There's a couple of buildings getting dropped in to try and deny the retreat, but the army from Mosca now moving forward. Petsukos on the back, going to be getting some nice help in here. Eclipse to get dropped down most likely straight away here. This Hierarcho Sphinx going down though. Great control from Rappel as the Eclipse gets dropped in. The Herser onto this side do manage to almost take out both of those Sphinxes. They bail on the position. Is there enough stuff here for Mosca is the big question. He's fighting underneath a hill fort. It's 5k to 4k, but there's a lot of low HP units here for both players. The priests here going to be able to take out that back frost giant. This one Petsukos hanging out here, just getting max value throughout this fight. Another Petsukos getting brought in as Rappel's army does drop. He's only got 2k remaining here at this moment. As one little Ursa sneaking through there to take out a Petsukos. More Petsukos coming in as the Camel Rider Chariot Archers starting to come through. Herdman getting big damage, but it doesn't matter when there's Petsukos in the army. They just do so much. Mosca, in that moment there, though, decides, I can't continue this fight. He pulls back. He absolutely can continue this fight. He just has to reposition over here and be sieging with his Petsukos. He doesn't have Petsabek, so he's missing a little bit of range on them. But still, he's in a commanding position now. Villagers are equal, but the big thing here is now Mosca can go Mythic Age if he wants to. Or Mosca can go upgrades, which Rappel doesn't have an edge there. And if we take a look at the economic upgrades, he's also missing those. Mosca, on the other hand, he's missing a couple. But farms are coming down. There's going to be a rain here momentarily, and there are 26 farms. Now, this is not... Okay, what does rain actually do for Ra? Well, the first rain pays for the farms. That's what the rain does. If you have Shadoof, you obviously get half of the farm in food, but that's what rain does. It pays for your farms if you don't have that Shadoof in. There's going to be a huge amount of food to come through. And we have got Mosca now moving over onto the bottom side to secure this gold mine. Playing for gold here is the most important thing. This top gold mine as well is going to be something which Rappel 100% needs to secure, especially now that this position is being taken by Mosca. But Mosca's still not dropping this rain. He needs to be... obviously, he wants as much value out of as he can, but I feel like just dropping rain and selling food here is going to be a really nice idea because you know the gold mines are going to be expiring, so being the first to sell some food in a spot like this is very, very important. These double camel riders just hanging out over here as a great haul getting dropped down. Rappel still playing incredibly passive for the moment as the obelisk at the top, just checking out, seeing if there's a town center going up. Siege works coming through. Oh, I like this idea from Mosca. Why not siege this position? There's farms, there's villages. This position up here is hard to kill because of the gold mine. Oh, so not the gold mine, the hill forts. There's 2 hill forts. There's production all over here. There's nothing on this side. But Mosca doesn't have the population for this siege tower to come through. He probably should actually just delete a unit. But he's going to be charging in here. He's trying to take this spot out. As the army here for Rappel has to make a decision. Do we go down and take the fight? There is forest fire. Using that on this position is risky, but it could be gigantic here. Especially against Petsukos. Especially against Petsukos, because they're incredibly immobile. As Mosca sees the army coming through, repositions in. Rappel pulls back. There's still no siege tower in. This is such a missed opportunity for Mosca at the moment, but now it's coming through. The positioning very, very good for Mosca. Like I said, if he can just charge in and keep these units on this forest fire, like you guys laugh, but 125 favor in this position is going to be an absolute godsend. But he needs to get on top of the units. He absolutely needs to get on top of the units here. Otherwise, they can just run through the Migdol stronghold. It's not going to be worthwhile. Petsukos, they are going down. They've not been pulled back here. As does Mosca now have enough stuff to actually win this fight? Rappel has got the advantage military resource-wise, but the Migdols are up. Villagers getting pulled off. Do they have themselves their upgrade? They do. They've got a ton of bonus damage as the army here for Mosca does end up melting. But the portable rams aren't really going to be able to do all too much here. It's the camel riders going down. Great control from Mosca to pull back. He does need some actual barracks units here. Axeman would be such an important thing. He's now realized it. Little bit too late, though, Axeman is such a key unit against Norse because it shuts down so much of what makes them so strong. The Pacifist, Axeman, Fire Archer, any sort of counter infantry unit is a must to be teching into, whether you have them or not. You know, that matters as well. But now we see the Axeman starting to come through. Mosca can start going for his siege towers again. We do have a Berserk up onto the top. I still want to see this position getting secured by Rappel. Hill Fort, just one Berserk is fine. Put the Hill Fort down, get that gold mine in. Because Mosca, he's chewing through this gold. And this gold... Oh, he's got a trade route started, though. I love this, but build the market over here. As all the units here repairing this up. Mosca trying to mass up to full population. Yet again. Heavy Axemen coming through. He's got 5 Axemen now. Oh, 5 barracks now as the rain finally getting dropped down there from Moscow. I was waiting for it. He's still only got 26 villages on food. But this is going to be a really, really big boost of resources here. As the army charges forward. There are no throwing Axemen here. So these medium Axemen getting mixed in is going to be absolutely gigantic for Moscow moving forward. The Camel Riders, their spidey senses tingle as they don't see anything, but the villagers are making their way up here. That being said, Rappel could probably convert some into Berserks or something like that as he's charging forward with his army here, the Axemen. Turning in onto the fight, getting some really, really nice damage onto these units. Like I said, no real throwing Axemen here as the frost does come through. Now the Migdol stronghold going to be under fire up onto the top side there. The Axemen, or the villagers do get converted into Berserks as those Camel Riders are going to pull back. And this Migdol stronghold under siege here. He's got 30 seconds to get this one up. If this goes down here, all of a sudden Mosca has to lose the fight as well. But if the Migdol goes down, all of a sudden Mosca is in a little bit of a difficult spot. As we see some Axemen to come up to try and deal with the Berserks. Mosca knows how important that top position is. Just get some Myth units. One Sphinx up to the top. Like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what unit it is. Sphinx, Petropolis, not Petsukos. I mean, send a Petropolis up there. Why not? But still, another rain there coming through for Mosca as he's trying to just get a huge advantage going with the bonus income from these god powers. As the Migdol stronghold stays alive, the army melts to these Axemen as Mosca running out of gold here in this game. He's still trying to put pressure up to the top here. He's going to have to abandon this gold mine. There's 3,000 remaining in there, and he's got no gold over onto this side. Selling food is an option. More Axemen to start coming through, though. Armory check. Mosca has a little bit. Rappel also in a very similar position. Mosca's at full population, though. But the question is, does he have the units to make anything happen? He's got so much wood in the bank. I mean, he can sell it, but it doesn't give him a whole lot of gold. But now the Axemen do seem to be enough here to actually push Rappel back. Rappel's trying to steal as much of this gold mine as he possibly can. As Mosca going to send his villagers back over onto this spot. He can sell literally all of that wood if he wants to. Why not? Villagers over here need to get pushed back. As the Frost Giant there does get sniped down. Now with this amount of Axemen, we will see Rappel go, all right, we'll get some throwing Axemen in. No worries. Meanwhile, a couple of heavy cavalry coming up onto this side. I'm still saying get some Sphinx. Just, you got all the favor in the world, or at the very least, drop another rain or something here. And then sell all that food. Rappel also is going to have to start thinking about his own market because this gold mine is going to go down quick. Villagers coming through here to grab this town center. That's a lot of villagers for the time being as the fight coming in yet again. Onto the back there, the heavy Huskarl to come through. There's a couple of Axemen there as Mosca tries to pull himself through this one. Not enough favor for that forest fire as this looks like another really, really good fight for Rappel. as Mosca's army just not able to win these fights. The positioning just not there. Town center up onto this side. Villagers making their way over here. He can just shank down these guys if he wants because he's got that skin of the rhino. Does he have himself his upgrade? He's also got survival equipment as well. So too does Rapple, but the villagers do win on these sorts of fights with skin of the rhino as they're going to pull back over onto this position. Mosca's still just not quite able to break through the Rapple here. As he's shanking away a lot of berserks on this side. One Pharaoh and a Dream, it looks like. Mosca, he can also... he's got to send something up onto this side. Those berserks are too scary. I think for Mosca, actually, the problem here is he's got so many camel caravans. He is sending them to the far trade spot now, though, so he's got a little bit going for himself. But this gold mine getting into the backhand of Rapple helps him out so much to continue through this game. Now we see some more camel riders coming up to the top. A fort makes a lot of sense. Migdol stronghold just outside of line of sight here from Mosca is going to be really helpful for him to break through this position and get that gold mine back for himself. Meanwhile, a hill fort up for Rapple as his gold mine is there. Still hasn't dropped. He has got a market, but not a single trade caravan has been started for Rapple, which is going to be a big, big issue. As we see the mining camp coming through with that Migdol stronghold. Doesn't matter how many berserks are here, it should be enough as the villagers will be pulling off of this position. Both players looking for this mythic age though for the time being as they're both getting very close to having the gold they need. Tia, he's going Balder. This is absolutely wild. Rapple sees the problem that he's going to be running out of gold and he goes, we've got to go for it. There is fortified town centers. There is masons. There is sun-dried mud brick. There is potential for architects as well. There is a son of Osiris. There is a trade route. Rapple doesn't know any of that, really. But I don't think he's got another choice without slapping down 15 million markets and just trying to get these ox caravans through as fast as he humanly can. There's now Mosca pulling in with the siege tower. Sieging with siege towers versus throwing axemen is very, very difficult because it's ranged hack damage. So they don't mind the siege tower in the slightest. This town center over here will get denied by that lone siege tower. No, it's going to finish. It will finish, but it's going to go down immediately. There's another Migdol coming in for Mosca. He's trying to move around the map. He's going to have to think about, like, he's going guard tower, so he's ready. Whole bunch of towers can come down in a very quick amount of time because you got sun-dried mud brick. They're so cheap. Plus, already teched into axemen, so there's that going for him. However, 170 favor in the bank for Rapple. Fire Giant are going to be key here for the Rapple. On the other side, though, Osiris, that's going to be really, really strong too. There's the axeman going in onto this position. There's also boiling oil here. Town center getting grabbed by Mosca as Mosca is slowly claiming a very, very solid advantage in this game. How many trade caravans has Rapple managed to make? 2. He's got 2. That's not going to help. It might help a little bit, but it'll help with like a Fire Giant follow-up. I mean, you've already got the favor for the Fire Giant, so you're kind of fine where that's concerned. As the siege tower to come in, it will be able to... I don't actually know if it'll beat the hill fort here, considering it's got boiling oil. As Mythic Age is coming in, Champion Axeman coming through, Son of Osiris is over onto this side. Got to be careful with that one as the units are going to be coming through. There's the Ragnarok. For the second time in this tournament, we're seeing an insane Ragnarok. This is as all in as it gets for Apple. He's got two ox caravans. He does have 2,300 food, which will be a big help. Migdol's coming up all over the place. Towers coming up. Guard towers is in, as I said already. Is there architects? Not just yet. Mosca's also got an... Oh, he's going to lose his Pharaoh! He's going to... Wait, he could go for the son of... He's lost his Pharaoh. He's lost his Pharaoh. There's also going to be Frost. So, I mean, he's got to wait another minute or so. He's got to wait another minute or so to to get that, a minute and a half to get that in. He could also get the Pharaoh technology to get it through faster as an angle there. Another rain actually coming through from Moscow as he goes, give me as much food as I possibly can. Town centers are going to be going down. Getting this advanced fortifications technology is going to be huge as well for the defense, as the numbers are slowly dropping. Barracks coming up over onto this side for Moscow as he's going to be losing this town center as well. Moscow abandons the forward town center over there as he's going to be moving up to this spot. He can move all of those camel caravans over onto this town center immediately with a click of a button if he wants to, as the Architects is coming through, and it does manage to come in time to help the town center stay alive for just a little bit longer, as the frost there does get dropped down, as now the camel caravan line is under attack. And it looks like Moscow's army getting caught out. 40 seconds of idle time while all of these buildings get cleaned up is going to be brutal. Another Migdol over onto this side. What could he do here to get a better position? This fortified town center going to be falling. At the moment, like, you don't want to shift your trade route here because you're not going to get any gold for it, but you have another angle as Rappel trying to break through this spot. He's losing units left, right, and center to all of these towers in the main base, the town center and everything else. He does have siege in to take down the main town center. Is the Pharaoh in yet? Yes, he is. But Son of Osiris needs to get called upon. As the Axemen turning around, they're so good versus all those heroes of Ragnarok. Moscow hasn't noticed it. He's got himself the ballista towers there as well, as the Mummy does get off a special ability. He's still not using that Son of Osiris here. I don't know how he's forgotten about it, but he has forgotten about it. But it doesn't matter because Rappel's Ragnarok drops to 0. The town center stays alive with 114 HP as well. And Moscow lives another day as Rappel has to tap out. What an insane game. Rappel on the defense for so long. So many amazing fights down. So many resources there. The fight for the gold was everything. He got it back, but in doing so, he also lost this top position, keeping Moscow afloat even longer. Oh my God. Like, this game is going to go down in the history books. Man, what a game here from both players. It seemed it's just on edge for the entirety of this game. On edge for the entirety of it. Look at the resources collected. Shoots into the stratosphere here for Moscow, obviously. Military kill loss. Moscow does end up taking that win, but if you take this game back like 5 minutes, it was probably in favor of Rappel. And now Moscow, tournament jitters have been sorted out. He's on the board. He is on the board. And that means he can settle into this series and he can do whatever he wants moving forward now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump back over to the draft. There are no real breaks here. You get around about 5 minutes between games. So we'll jump back into the draft and we'll get going with the next game here to go into game number 4. Our next game is going to be on the map Giza. It is going to be a, excuse me while I remember what it is. It is going to be a Thor versus Noir affair. It is going to be a Thor versus Noir affair. Alrighty. I'm trying to read what you guys are saying in the chat, but I can't even follow it, so I'm just going to ignore. So the win there for Moscow. The loss there for the Rappel main god of Odin. Our next game here is going to be... Oh, I'm wrong. No, I'm right. Okay. So Rappel is on Noir, and Moscow is going to be on Thor. All right, let me give you my bold strategy here on this map for Thor. This is map 4. We were just on map 3 here. Now, my bold strategy for this map as Thor is just rush the Noir. Just rush the Noir. Like, why not? Well, you can also just go for the armory upgrades and go for that angle as well. But yeah, if you just rush the Noir with a whole bunch of Herso early on, I'm telling you, it's really hard to keep villagers alive at 3 minutes and 10 seconds when 3 Herso run into your base plus a Valkyrie. It's really hard. There's another build here that's been going around as well for Thor, which is a forward temple, but a 4-minute advance time with the Dwarven Armory. It's incredibly tight. If you're not practiced in it, you're not going to be able to pull it off in a tournament. But that's another really, really strong way to go. What else have you got? Is the double Valk still possible? The hard part is just getting the 18 favor in. So you get something like, I mean, if it's full aggressive hunt, if you get like a hippo spawn or something, like I can't remember which spawns you get here for a geezer. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure you can get hippos because you get rhinos on the, I think it's a variety of hunt on this one. You get rhinos on the second town centers, like guaranteed. But on the main town center, hippo, zebra or something. I can't remember. It's passive in the base. If it is passive in the base, then I don't think it's possible to do a double Valk opening because it's just not enough favor. And you don't get enough from hitting animals either while you're advancing. So it's not really an option. Nonetheless, still waiting for these guys to get going. You think you can get hippo? Maybe. I think you can. I feel like you can. For everyone wondering what the actual schedule is for today, we are going to be going into Nullas versus Deceive for the Challengers League next, which is another best of 7. And then we follow that up with the Mista versus the winner of this series. So yeah, we're best of 7s for the rest of today. And I'm loving it. We might be going until 6 a.m. guys. Also, I will let you guys know as everyone on Twitch here, we're gonna see some new faces coming in, probably in the middle of this game. So be very. I want to prep you guys. Be very, very helpful. If anyone asks any questions that seem silly, don't be mean to anyone. If you do, I'm going to be very upset with you guys. So there's going to be some new faces, hopefully. Not a co-cast. Not a co-cast. All right, these guys are on the way right now. Unless I got the time conversion wrong again, which I could have got. I've got the time conversion wrong way too many times. But yeah. So yeah, Thor versus Noir is not a matchup I've seen very much of. One big thing here with Thor in this matchup is you want to use Forest Fire to kill off the Earth Wall. I expect to see the Noir going for not Chi-Yao, but Zhuan Nu, however. I expect to see that. If we see Rappel going for Earthwall, he has to pre-plan. He has to actually have just an insane knowledge of the diameter of the Earthwall such that you can place it so that it doesn't touch any forests. Because if you drop the Earthwall down and it gets immediately killed, and you're going through that Hal 2 God, it makes your life so difficult because you don't have any really. You've got the Chillin, which are pretty good to deal with with stuff, but they're not amazing or anything. They're more of a harassment unit than a defensive unit. The Chillin, however, are both. But if you have the walls, the earth walls, now you can play defense while raiding with the Chillin. But if you're playing against Forest Fire, that's not possible. So I do think this is a must to go for Freya in this matchup from Mosca. Going for you're tempted as Thor to go for the what's it called, Healing Spring and Forseti. You're tempted to go for Forseti, but it just doesn't really make sense in this matchup. If you're playing maybe against Fuxi or against Shenong, or probably Fuxi, definitely you can go for Healing Spring, but against Shenong, you're kind of rolling the dice as to what the Shenong player is going to go for. You want Forseti against the Chi Yao, and you want Freya against the Hal 2. He's got both, so you don't really know. But yeah, in this one, this is going to have to be a little cheeky bit of shenanigans there from our Deuterinos. But nonetheless, we are a minute away here, and I'll tell you what, let me see if I can set this up. I haven't done this before. I was going to do this before, but I totally forgot. Alrighty. We do a little bit of a promotion here. Okay, so yeah, 40 seconds until we're in. I'm really, really interested. I'm really, really interested in how this is going to work. You know, Thor knew, like, especially Mosca's Thor, because this is a wild card. Like, you don't know what he's got. Like, there's a whole bunch of players that have got this pocket Thor that you just don't see them bring out in any other moment apart from like tournament. For example, Kavoth is one of those guys, and yeah, I think Mosca is probably going to have a pretty similar Thor to... Actually, I don't know, because he played a whole bunch versus Tunison, so he might be influenced by Tunison's all-out aggro. But nonetheless, we're about to jump in here. Game number 4, best of 7, Mosca versus the Rapple on the map Giza. Let's get it. Spawning in the top left of the map, we do have Mosca here as the Thor. He is herding his animals. He is going for his Dwarven Armory opening here. And hello there, Mr. Craghack, the inventor of this build. He is getting featured in S-tier tournament history. This is gonna feel good. This is gonna feel so absurdly good here. For Craghack, you make a build and someone says, you know what, that is insane, let me use that. This build is only like a week old. Is it only, like, how old is this build, Mr. Craghack? I need you to tell me in the Twitch chat quickly. But before we go back to that, down in the bottom side of the map, Rapple, he is playing as Noir. Yeah, okay, so literally this build order, which I'm sorry, Rapple. I love you, but we're going to talk about Mosca here. This build is literally one week old. Now, of course, for a player of Mosca's caliber, he's going to practice this once and he's going to have it down. But it is incredibly tight. Incredibly tight. And he didn't herd in all of his animals. He's actually left a couple over here. He's getting scouting information. He's grabbed a couple of goats. The Pioneer going to wander forward, going to actually spot that Dwarven Armory. And here's the thing. Why is this build so good? Well, the main reason is that your opponent sees it and they think that they've got time. Because you're going for a Dwarven Armory, you're going greed. This is a 4-minute advance time. This is a competitive advance time by any stretch of the imagination. Unless Moscow wants to go for a bit of a later one, which is looking like he is. He's getting that temple down a little bit later than he's supposed to. But nonetheless, we'll see how things go here for Moscow. He's not going for the rush, but what I was saying, what the whole point here, a couple of Isle of Villages from Rappel. The whole point here for this build is just how do I put it? Your opponent is expecting you to advance late, so they're going to take a little bit more of a slower approach, a little bit greedier, because there's not a whole lot you can do to punish anything here. But I'm hyping this up, and Moscow either screwed up the build or he just opted to do something different. And he is going Forcetti. All right. I don't like the Forcetti. I've already explained this pre-game why I don't like the Forcetti. But just for everyone else who's tuning in now. Well, the reason I don't like Forcetti is because HAL 2 with the Earth Wall, you have to place that Earth Wall perfectly in order to not get burned down. So, yeah, Freya is just an amazing counter to Earthwall because you just drop Forest Fire to counter it and you're good to go. But nonetheless, some Pioneers popping out now for the Rappel. He's going to be moving forward with his Cheongchi. He's dropping a military camp there as well. And he does go for, in his main base, a couple of clay peasants here. So using that creation god power to get a little bit of boosted resources, so to speak. Over here we've got the Longhouse to come down. And Moscow will finish this one up with all 3 armory upgrades, finishing up with his hunt. And he's got, I guess, one big advantage here for this opening from Moscow is he doesn't really have a huge amount of dwarves. So this is going to give him a little bit more food, so to speak. He's got a little bit more food to play with. There's the Cheongchi going to be flying around over onto the other side here. House is up. Walls are down. All that other good stuff. There's Rappel. Just searching for any little bit of damage that he can do for the moment. Just searching for any little bit of damage. What does this Earth Wall even protect? I guess it's protecting this gold mine to some degree. Protects his gold mine here. Protects his town center from getting targeted down. Protects his wood line. Doesn't protect his food. I guess it also sort of protects these zebra as well. So not terrible. Sort of makes sense. But Rappel for the moment just going to be scouting around with this Cheongchi. Not going to be able to find all too much damage, but also this means Moscow's not going to be able to find all too much damage on the other side as another Cheongchi going to be coming through. Over onto this side there, the peasant going to get slapped down. And just the defensive Thor going to be getting kicked off. Back over here, Pioneers in for the defense for the time being. A couple of upgrades to come in as well as... Wait, does he have a relic? I totally missed all the relics in this one. He's got himself 9-tailed Fox Charm as well. So this Cheongchi is just going to be healing up as we're going on. He's just going to be happily just going, oh, let's just get some heals in. We'll just get some more heals in. It's going to be good. Over onto this side, a couple of walls coming up onto the corner of the map there. We do have Rushall pre-queued here for Rappel. But I don't think he's got any real plans to do any of that. Like there's no plans to do anything there. He wants to go there. He'll go there when he can. Over onto this side, the Cheongchi tries to get involved, but Mosca not even gonna walk over there and try and take that out. He's just gonna sit there, hang out, slap a little bit, good to go. Over onto this side now, the Cheongchi getting slapped down as he does take off. Gets out of that main base. Meanwhile, over onto this side, I mean, you don't really have a lot of options here against Earth Wall with these raiding cavalry. The only option is slap the Earth Wall and run when units come over to defend. That's the only real option. I mean, you can kill off the Earth Wall, but if there's units here, then this is just never going to go down. You're trying to sneak around onto this side, but there's a wall here as well from Rappel, and there's not really any angles to get anything to happen as the Cheongchi just flying around. Another thing here to think about is had Rappel, excuse me, I'm losing my brain. Had Mosca here gone for Freya, not only would have been able to kill this, but he also would have had access to Goaty, and that would have shut down these scouts. So he could build some Goaty and he can actually threaten them. Meanwhile, over here, he snipes a villager with those raiding cavalry. Very, very nice play there. A couple of other relics on the map that haven't been grabbed. Arrows of the Owlfire is going to be really important for later in the game. Ring of Nibelung there as well. Very, very important too, as the villagers do get spotted in the center of the map. Now, this is dangerous. I don't think that Rappel's army is going to be winning these fights here. I don't think that Rappel's army wins these fights. Actually, no, he's got so much advantage, though. Maybe he does. Maybe it does win the fights. There's not that many raiding cavalry to take out the fire archers, which is the kind of bottleneck. There's only a handful of halberdiers, though, so I don't know. Is the Cheongchi now going to be moving in, starting to chomp down on the temple and all the other good stuff. Still 700 gold remaining for Mosca on his home gold mine as Mosca needs to get a really, really nice surround here. Fire archers pop it into the front here. Sniping, throwing axemen is you basically have to trade throwing axemen for Dow swordsmen, for halberdiers, and things like that as he does pick units off onto the back there, but it's not looking all too easy for Mosca moving forward here. Healing Spring gets dropped down onto this spot as Mosca's like, okay, we're going to have to take somewhat of a fight here. The resources are starting to creep up as well. Only 2 military buildings for Mosca is going to be hurting. Doesn't have a lot of gold. Lots and lots of food in the bank here, but not a whole lot that he can do to actually spend it. He could bail on the gold mine, drop underneath his town center, and actually go for a dwarven mine. At this point, there's not really anything wrong with that, as we do have a longhouse and a great hall coming up on the back of the base here. You can also use the town center to start sniping sky lanterns and things like that. Longhouse coming down for Mosca as he pokes forward over here as well. There's Rappel. Pulling back. Game to continue. Dwarven Mine is down in the main base as he's got a lot of food, a lot of gold. There is an angle here actually to just sit in your base for even longer. Go heroic age here. Stop making units. Go heroic age. Then you've got random villagers over here trying their hardest to sneak some resources. He does get spotted, does get pushed away, but he might get away without losing any villagers, which is going to be big. As a raiding cavalry for Mosca leaving the main base here and snipe a couple of straggler units, but the armory going to be going down, houses going down. Nice defense for the moment there with those throwing axemen. The temple up on this spot for maybe some more trolls as an angle. Losing the armory isn't the end of the world, but there's a couple of armory upgrades there that could be very, very useful. Picks off a halberdier, going to go after that fire archer. Every little snipe here is important for Mosca. This is the advantage he's got. He's got that speed advantage. Pick off the reinforcements as they come through, but Rappel's got the stronger army at the moment. Trolls are coming in. Raiding cavalry do manage to pull through this wall, back onto the healing spring, get themselves healed up a little bit, trying to engage for the time being as Rappel will simply just pull around as the raiding cavalry need to sort of push past that front line there. A couple of units on the back need to get into this fight. The trolls are so key, but Mosca forgets about them there as he pulls forward, and he's lost a ton of units again, but so too does Rappel. one more favor for another dwarven mine here to keep himself afloat for just a little bit longer. As the dwarves are going to sneak over onto this gold mine. A little bit risky. More trolls to come through, but no cave trollers in. A lot of halberdiers to come in. Let's take a quick look at the actual army here. There's 10 fire archers and a very, very nice amount of infantry units for Rappel. Mosca needs throwing axemen and only throwing axemen to move forward here. As he does get pushed off of this gold mine. No market down. Farms getting dropped is not... You really can't be dropping farms in this matchup. But he's going to have to. The favor will come through slowly. 2 favor a minute. Snipe a couple of units here. That's what he needs to pull up to 50 favor for another dwarven mine. Even if he doesn't pick off these units, so long as he gets this favor and he's good to at least get a few more units together. Is he gonna... Does he have a market? No market. I mean, what's the idea? He's looking for raids to just distract for the time being. There's villages he can pick off at the bottom here. Dwarven Mine does come into the main base there as the villagers are going to pop over here. But it's right. Why would you go there? That's such a weakness. And it does get spotted. Villagers pulling back as these raiding cavalry now very much out of position. But maybe this is the bait that Mosca wants. You come in and you attack this gold mine. Now we swing around with our raiding cavalry and we kill you. The halberdier have to sit on these villages here. So you've cut off a decent amount of units from the actual fight. Couple more longhouses, great halls coming through. And there's a lot of units actually sitting back here. So Rappel's very scared of this. Rappel is very, very scared of this. A great hall going to be coming through. Bragi pre-queued for Mosca. I mean, he's going to have the gold for it, but now he doesn't have that gold for that 3,000 gold line to keep him afloat here. Did he build a market at the very least? Yes, it's going to come down so he can sell just a little bit. There will be Retold on the way already, though, for Rappel. Rappel has got this game completely constricted with a gigantic advantage, going for a town center now. Now is the time to actually be thinking to move out onto the gold mine, though, while this is all going on. But he doesn't know this. He doesn't know that a town center is going up. He doesn't know the units are sitting back here. He does have the Qiongqi over here. I mean, you could potentially try and sneak a gold mine in the corner of the map or something like that. Like, Rappel doesn't really... Like, he knows there's a gold mine over there, but he's got no knowledge of that for the moment. Longhouse is coming up. Maybe some watchtowers or something over here as a defensive resource. Could be an angle. But Rusho is in. How many Cursor? There's 5 Cursor. So long as they can stay alive and sit on top of the throwing axemen, should be okay here to survive the Fey Beasts and actually do something with this flaming weapons. So raiding cavalry come over onto this side. The walls are already up. No real way to get past that. Is the Baihu going to be coming through? These raiding cavalry are going to get caught out and the villagers will move forward. The distraction has worked. Mosca will get himself up a hill fort, but the dwarves need to move quickly and these raiding cavalry need to get to safety. But I mean, Rappel's already taken himself a pretty big lead here. He's like second town center. He's going to be getting more villagers. Of course, flaming weapons is going to be the big threat. And after the flaming weapons, a whole bunch of battle boar. So you have to take a good fight against flaming weapons. Like the whole plan for Mosca moving forward in this game has to be hit good flaming weapons and maybe even a second temple for a battle boar follow-up to just siege through everything. There's Rappel now looking to push forward. Doesn't really have a way to break through the hill fort, though. Like, Mosca has a completely different angle here as well now. You can just go for a town center. Like, almost just wander forward, maybe another hill fort, grab this town center. Being behind a couple of villages isn't really the end of the world for Thor because you're getting extra villagers from the Dwarven Armory. As this Baihu is going to be looking for little bits of raids here.
Yo.
The Hersir can come over and deal with that. He does have himself his speedy Hersir. It's a very weird upgrade actually coming through from Rappel. He goes for Divine, the shield, right? This only affects his heavy Dow swordsman, of which he's only got 4 of them. I don't think it affects these guys, right? Yeah. It only affects the Dow swordsman. And it doesn't really help him against anything that Mosca's got. Town Center attempting to come up over here. This does get spotted as the raiding cavalry charge to their death over here. On the other side, we do have that Zhurong to come through. 10 seconds for the Town Center to finish up. There will have to be a fight here from Mosca, but he wants to finish the Town Center first. Raiding cavalry swinging around onto the backside. Pushing in, pushing out. Flaming weapons needs to get dropped here. Absolutely needs to get dropped, and he does go for it. Fey Beast onto the back line there as the Thrown Axeman dive straight through. Are there enough Urso to actually kill off that Fey Beast on the back line or not is the big question. The unit population there completely falls for Mosca as he's just not able to hold this. But, I mean, no, I think he can easily take the Town Center down as well. He's got the myth units. He's got everything he needs to take this position out, but he's not going for it. He's going to allow Mosca to get somewhat of a comeback here as a whole bunch of Jarls queued up, throw an Axeman on the way. I want to see Battlebore. Look at this army. Yes, there's a Sage and there's 5 Pioneers, but Battlebore have got really, really high stats. Super, super strong. Of course, you wanted to win the fight with the Flaming Weapons. That didn't happen. Now Mosca's Town Center goes down immediately. And now we have a couple of Goaty to come through. Mosca's going to try and rotate over onto this side. Grab this Town Center potentially. Still got a lot of resources he needs to get in. At this point now as well, Rappel could just walk over here and just kill the hill fort. Meanwhile, Huskal raids over onto the left side. But you look at this. The villages are so safe for Rappel. You can't raid this because of the Earth Wall. Can't raid this Town Center. This is possibly raidable, but any reaction from Rappel is going to be enough. As Rappel wanders forward, sees the hill fort and goes, let's attack somewhere else. Maybe the main base is the idea. So the house going down for Mosca in the main base, and Rappel in such a good position. Over onto this side, Terracotta Riders called to defend this. They're very, very quick. 6.5 speed. The Huskal will retreat, but they're still going to get pretty good damage done as the army pops over onto this side, says g'day. Rappel here going for a 3rd Town Center. He's going to be able to have his Rhinoceros. Like, you look at the villager differential, it's 69 to 72. It's ridiculously close still. Like, you would... Like, of course, the big problem here is the military differential. That's the big problem. Unit quality, Mosca does have more quality. He's got heavy, he's got bronze. Huskal just distracting around for the time being. Potentially a hill fort or something, but Rappel has got a... I guess he's got economy to some degree, but he's going to be going to the next age here. So this Town Center is going to be attempting to get grabbed yet again. Just turn and slap! Turn and slap! They're 1 HP! Nevertheless, Zhurong is coming through, which does mean big pain on that hometown center. The Cheongchi is also an amazing option there to actually hit this as well. Yeah, there is that. What's the Herbman tech for? I guess he's expecting to see Tiger Cav or something like that. Nonetheless, iron armor on the way. Dwarves sitting idle. You can move on to this gold mine. He's got a little bit to go to actually get himself another dwarven mine down. As Mosca says, maybe we can take this fight. Not really. He's going for the town center over onto this side. One favor until he's actually got this this dwarven mine in. But he's going for this gold mine, and a ballet is on the way. Meanwhile, the unit's in the middle of the map here as well. As immediately, Rappel going to be rotating over onto this spot. A couple of berserks getting converted to try and take out these units. But man, this goes up so quick. Though Rappel says, okay, I will run. No problems. I got an army that can come over here and sort of deal with this. Meanwhile, over onto this side, a hill fort getting dropped in the face of Rappel, and Rappel does notice this. He's coming through. The Baihu getting big damage done. Mosca pulls back. Over onto this side, however, some villagers going down as Mosca is getting somewhat unleashed into this game. He's got himself his 3 town centers, almost. Up onto this side, though, one Cheongchi is going to be giving a lot of grief over to Mosca as the Berserks to come through and try and deal with this. Into the main base, however, there's going to be a big, fat fire. And what do you lose? You lose the town center. You might lose some houses. Units sitting onto this side as well. The villagers have got a bail. Army here for Mosca will pull out. He's got himself the healing spring, I guess. Over onto this side, though, the Halberdier chasing the Jarls away. The villagers are back to work over here as some walls are getting dropped onto this side. Town center goes down here. There's the base. The farm's left over, and that's almost it. As Mosca is somewhat forced to have to take a very, very difficult fight. Idle villagers over here as he can't really get back over onto his farms. He's got only 1 hill fort to make these Huskal out of as well. As the Jutsu gonna come over here and put to rest those dwarves on that gold mine as well. Heavy or champion infantry is through. Army falling here for Mosca. And Mosca does not have much left here in this game as he taps out. And Rappel takes game number 4. Now up 3-1. 1 game away from complete victory here to go and rematch the Mista in the grand finals. A really, really good try here from Mosca. I think the big... Like, if there was one moment here that could be pinpointed as like a gigantic strategic mistake from Mosca, I think it was grabbing this town center. He didn't need to. Like, when you're playing as Thor, you got to have that, and especially Bragi Thor, you got to have that killer instinct in you. You got to have that animal inside of you. You got to get the army out of position, get the surround you want with, basically with Huskal raiding cavalry on both sides of the army so that you can actually take out those fire archers. And then you got to start microing those throwing axemen to actually dodge fire archer arrows and stuff will make things a little bit difficult for them. You got 13 range versus 13 range at heavy. So it's not so bad. You can kind of space a little bit. But none of that happening for Mosca in this one. And Rappel takes the dub. We will be moving into game number 5 momentarily. It is a best of 7, as you can see. It's written just over here. It is a best of 7. So Mosca can still bring this one back. Let's look at the draft and see what potentially can go right here for Mosca, how he can make this comeback, or if Rappel is going to be able to claim complete victory in the next game. All right, our next game is going to be Kronos versus Set on Blue Lagoon. This is a spicy one. This is the ace pick from Mosca. And it's going to be Kronos versus Set. This is very, very spicy. So far in this tournament, we've seen Kronos winning twice and losing once. The player that beat Kronos was Mosca. He's the only one to have actually been able to take down the Titan that is Kronos. So, I mean, this is some spicy stuff. Now, here's my thought. Kronos Rush doesn't really work versus Egyptian. We've seen it. If you don't know, Like, if you don't know, then you don't know. Let me explain it. 3 priests and a villager shanking will beat an automaton. So all you got to do is get 3 or 2 priests and a pharaoh will beat with a villager will beat a automaton shanking. So there are some very, very simple defensive tricks with set, but you have to know. If you don't know, you don't know. Nonetheless, the win for the Noir, the loss for the Thor. Over here, we've got ourselves our Kronos in game 5 for Mosca. Must-win scenario. Set there for Raffle. What about 2 automatons? 2 automatons where you just get more priests out. Easy. No problems. But we'll see. There's a lot of different options for set to play in this one. You've also got animals of set as well to defend yourself with. So that's another big boost, so to speak. And then as soon as you hit the classical age, 1 priest beats all the automaton. 1 priest and 1 pharaoh beats all the automaton. So yeah, there's some options for sure. Without question, there's some options. All right. So 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And, well, let's be honest here. This game could be over before our timer even finishes. We've seen it happen. We've seen 4-minute tap outs before in this matchup. Actually, I don't think it was this matchup, but from Kronos. It is possible. It is possible. But I don't even know if Mosca is going to be going for the Kronos rush, which is sort of, that's an interesting thought as well. You might not need to go for the Kronos rush. In fact, we might not even see it. So keep that in the back of your mind. To look at the draft ahead, if Mosca manages to win this game, he's still got Isis, he's still got Fuxi, he's still got Gaia. These are 3 incredibly strong gods. Rappel on the other side, he's got Tsukiyomi, he's got Amaterasu, and he's got Freyr. Also 3 really strong gods. There's not really a great map for Freyr outside of Mirage. And there's not really a good map. Well, I guess Amaterasu and Tsukiyomi are fine on Steppe. Because there's Mirage and Steppe remaining. Those are the other 2 maps, if Mosca manages to win this one. We're getting ahead of ourselves because I'm interested in what potentially could happen here. I would expect to see Mosca going Isis on Mirage, which obviously very strong. He could go Gaia on Mirage as well. I don't expect to see Gaia on Steppe. There is an angle there, like automaton type angle against the Japanese does feel good because you can have the spider layers there as well, going Leto and things like that. But Fuxi is going to be the big one on that step as well. Because very, very strong with the lightning weapons and all that other good stuff. But nonetheless, we shouldn't really be paying attention to that because Kronos versus Set is coming through. Who is the meme god not showing at all in the best of 7? I think all of the Japanese are accounted for. All the Chinese are accounted for. All the Atlantean are accounted for. Uranus, Kronos, yep. All of the Norse, Odin, Thor, Freyr, Loki. Loki isn't accounted for. We found him. Alrighty. Well, it's time to jump into game number 5. Potentially the last game here for Mosca's tournament. Get behind him, root for him, send him your luck. All the other good stuff. We're going on to Blue Lagoon. ladies and gentlemen, Mista, tournament life on the line from now on. Every single game could be his last. He's spawning in the left side of the map, and he's playing Kronos. His opponent today, in the right side of the map, playing his set. His name is the Rapple. Rapple is going to be skipping Monument. He is going to be skipping Pickaxe. And he is going to be going for the fastest advance he possibly can go for. All right, I'll give you the build order here for you guys if you want to try this. I don't think Rapple did this one in the most efficient of ways. You put 2 villagers over onto gold at the very start. That allows you to build the temple with 1 villager, giving you as much extra resources as you can so that you can get priest out as soon as you drop the temple down. In this situation, he's going to have to put 3 villagers on the temple to actually build it quick enough. And I'm not even sure he's going to have the food to be able to advance here when this... he probably will. He'll probably have it. But we are seeing the temple up. Mista is going for a fast advance, and he does actually decide to go for Prometheus here. So not going for the Leto idea, as those oracles will be getting slapped away. He has spotted the majority of the base here, though, and the temple comes through. This does not get spotted by the Rapple. Anubis is queued up. And this is a pretty quick advance from Rapple, but still just that little bit behind the 8 ball. That little bit behind the 8 ball. Rhino set does spot this position as the houses are going to start coming down around here. Rapple just wants to make everything as safe as he possibly can. Is there a priest to come through? Where is the priest? He's ooming somewhere. He's over here. You need this guy for the defense because it could be automatons. But in this situation with the Prometheans, it's probably not going to be all too much. As we see a counter barracks coming down over here. Going to start bashing down this stuff over here. 1 priest is through. Temple gets deconstructed there. As the houses getting taken out. Villagers pulling back. Little tiny bit of damage here as he does get into that tower. And now Anubis is through. And those Prometheans will start to go down here. Another Promethean is in. But to some degree, you've done some damage here. There's no monument. It's going to get dropped now from Rapple. There's no temple. A lot of villagers kind of left idle here trying to build. There's going to be Terma spamming in onto this position as Rapple needs to get units in as soon as possible. A wall or something over onto this side here to make things a little bit safer for him. That would be ideal because the Terma are going to be able to start poking over this position. Now the animals come through. The temple is in. And Anubite to help out as well. There's a little bit of damage to start coming in onto this position. Valor on cooldown onto those Terma sort of makes sense. Rapple here now getting a couple of slingers out for not for free, but actually yes, for free. He needs to get some wood income though pretty quickly here. As the Valor does get dropped down. Not quite able to take out all too much here. You basically just want to sit back, passive stance the laborers, and just use your heal on the villagers. Like these Terma don't do enough damage to out damage the priests. So you can just sit back and just say, come at me. It's not a problem. But animals getting taken out now. Plague of Serpents gets dropped. And Rapple has bought himself a lot of time here. He's bought himself a lot of time as the Rhinoceros to come forward. Poking through here, just getting a little bit of damage done on the Revenge. As the unit's up to the top, splitting up. And Mista says, I've done the damage I wanted to. Get me out of here. Back into the main base. Temple is going to be here. There isn't a Nubite through. 1 hero citizen and Valor's in the bank here. You just turn around and start shanking that. It's going to turn it into a citizen hero there. Anyways, it's the small amounts of fighting back and forth here as that counter barracks is going to start getting beaten down. It might actually end up falling there. It takes 10 seconds to actually time shift. So you do have to distract a little bit here to actually make that happen. But now the Nubites in this main base here causing some problems. And Moscow is now over onto the food. And where to next is the question. For Rappel, you can kind of just go for a talent center here, especially with a gold mine as good as this. So the Terma wander forward. Trying to pick everything off here, but coming through as Mosca. Not really able to take the fight versus the Spearman because it's 5.3 speed Spearman, so you can't even shoot and scoot with your 5 speed Terma. And Rappel does go, I've got my 1 kill, that's going to be enough. Military barracks up for Moscow in this position too. Up onto this position there, that Nubite getting pushed back. Now, Rappel says, okay, time for town center. So, 2 angles now for Moscow. Well, one angle would be stay classical age. I actually really like this angle. We'll see if he goes for it. Stay classical age. And then make like 10 oracles as fast as you humanly can into mass Promethean with all the other units, right, as well. And then you just charge forward and you're ready to attack at about, I don't know, 12 minutes or something with a gigantic army of Promethean. Another angle is get to the heroic age and do the same thing, but with Satyr. So these oracles are getting there a little bit. It's a little bit dangerous. The thing is though, with Kronos, what you can do is you can use a good little raid here with the Terma. You can actually use the time shift function here to give your oracles a little house that they can hide in. So that's the sort of best way to use that one. Of course, if your opponent catches the house out with enough units, they can take it all down. But then, like this idea of sending 1 unit around just hunting oracles is just not going to work. And it looks like Moscow is going to be taking the heroic age route for now. So he's got that Hyperion queued up. Wall's coming up over here, and his Rappel is going to be securing his gold mine at the top. Mosca hunting the Anubite for the time being. He's like, just get this Anubite out of here. Rappel does get spotted, and he does go down. But, you know, Rappel's now 2 TC. He's absolutely fine in this position. The only thing to question is, he's got pickaxe? Yes. Does he have anything else? No hand axe. He's got 1 monument. Looks like just the 1. And effectively here, Mosca is just going for the all-in of all-ins. So how do you defend this as set? Well, you got to be... Is he going for a town center here? No. This doesn't make any sense. I think this loses just a ton of your time. Oh, no, he's not going for one. I'm going crazy. I am going crazy. Okay. No, he's going up to the food. I thought he was going for the town center because it... Does it say this on all of them? It absolutely does. I thought there was like a building foundation. I'm tripping. Alrighty. So, like, the thing is, you don't have the time here to go for a town center and just play a macro game unless you are absolutely insane. But what you do have is your opponent is stuck in the classical age. And what is very bad in the classical age? Well, a 12 range priest is really bad. So a whole bunch of satyr are going to be really, really good. But you have to be really quick and you have to be putting pressure on immediately. Otherwise, Rappel will be in the heroic age super quick. So you have to be applying pressure like right away. Get in here, get damage done, or else. It's the Spearman popping through. Putting a little bit of pressure onto the back here. Military barracks coming up for Mosca. There's those satyr coming in. Farms coming up over here as well for the Rappel. I mean, you don't want to be building farms here either because that chews into your gold. The Rappel is running out of food. I mean, an angle here is to actually spend some of that favor on Gazelle at the moment and eat those to at least get you to the next age so your priest can start functioning. But nonetheless, Mosca still just taking his time here. He is taking his time to the nth degree. But he doesn't have an answer for all of those spearmen. What is this unit comp? I mean, of course, those Satyr turn around, get some big damage done, no problems. I mean, Satyr are the answer for those spearmen. Like, look at the stats. Like 10% pierce armor, 94 HP. The Satyr do how much damage per that special attack? 20 pierce with that special attack, and it's going to be piercing as well, so it hits everything in that line. And there's how many Satyr? There's a lot. Rappel needs to sit those priests on the front to not allow these guys to do anything. Charging forward, going to take out those obelisks over onto the right side, just making sure that nothing is going wrong here as the hero units threatening to go to turn to heroes. Does Mosca know that there's a gold mine to the left? He does know there's a gold mine to the left. He sees that with his oracle here, but he needs to move up there. He's still just trying to pressure through onto this side. He's got to get to the left here and make something happen as soon as he possibly can. Now moves up there. 5 villages will be bailing. This is incredibly spicy at the moment for the Rappel. He does have a villager lead. He does have a very strong army, but his priests are absolute... I hate to say it, they're just very, very bad. They are very, very bad to deal with these Satyr. 18 range versus 14 range. You shoot, you run, you drag the priests in, you snipe them off. Life is hard. Mosca sees the angle to charge in onto this position, but he's leaving this open. You have Kronos, time shifter building over there. Okay, the Murmillos coming through up onto this top side. Monuments of the Soldiers getting taken out. Satyr getting pulled back. Army sort of gets caught out here as still no real economic damage has been done, but you do have to remember that while Mosca isn't 2TC, he has managed to effectively keep the economy somewhat similar because he's managed to give himself oracles. Having 8 oracles, add that onto this number, he goes up to 56. He's only behind by like 3 villages, if you count the oracles as a villager, which I personally do. As he wanders forward, Rappel now going to be taking some big damage onto those villagers at the top. The walls are up or coming up over here to grab this gold mine, grab that hunt. He's eating the giraffe over there as well. Rappel is managing to get himself so many resources in this spot. As the priest's pharaoh wandering forward here. Villagers getting targeted onto this position. There is also a chaos available here for Mosca. Rappel doesn't have shifting sands or anything to be used at the moment as he charges forward here. You almost want to just chaos the priest at the back, and he does bring those Murmillos forward. He's trying to get on top of the priest, pulling the Satyr back as the army charging after the Satyr. They're all the priests getting taken out, and the Satyr demolishing those spearmen. Mosca's got a gigantic military lead now as Rappel's army gets absolutely eviscerated here. Now Mosca can pull forward. He can take out the town center. He's in an absolutely commanding position here. And what else can Rappel do? He's on the gold. He's still got a villager advantage, but I wouldn't say he's got a villager advantage at all, but he's technically got a villager advantage. There's also another deconstruction on the table, heroizing with valor. He can save up for another chaos next as the army sneaks around onto this side, and Rappel taps out as Mosca is able to take the most beautiful fight you will see with Kronos. Absolutely dissected that position. I mean, Rappel needed to get to the heroic age. He has set. He knows what his opponent's doing. You just have to get that vision in there. But he stayed in the classical age. I think even had Rappel, like, just not built anything, sacked this whole position, and got to the heroic age with the keeping his villager like situation intact, and rotated over to this position here. As long as he gets to the heroic age, he's fine, right? Like, because he's got the villager advantage from the town center. He doesn't need that town center anymore. He doesn't need this side of the map. So you can sack this entire position, no problems. Get to the heroic age, get the priests with that extra range, get Nebty, and you're in a good spot here to defend. But he sticks it out in the classical age. The tech from the heroic age pays absolute dividends for Mosca, and he gets that dub beautifully here. We check out this timeline, like military resource value through the roof there as well for Mosca. Resources collected. He's in front, but I think a lot of the reason why he's actually in front was because of these hero citizens, which do cost a lot, right? He's only got 7 of them, but they do cost a lot to actually make those. But then again, you also have to remember that Set economy a little bit weaker than everyone else. He built farms as well, and he's got cheaper units. So when you're behind on economy, it doesn't really matter that much. But nonetheless, a well-played game there from Mosca. We've got ourselves a game, or check. Okay. Check the Satyr damage. 57 kills. 57 kills. Alrighty. We'll jump back into the draft. Get prepared for game number 6. We might be sick. This is Age of Mythology, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Alrighty, our next matchup is going to be a Fushi versus Amaterasu on Step. Well, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better series here at this point. These guys are playing their absolute bums off. Absolute bums off at the moment. So we've got ourselves... Well, let's fix this up first and foremost. We've got ourselves the next map is Step for map number 6. We've got ourselves the Gods, which was a victory there for the Chronos, a loss for the Set, and then we're going to see a Fushi versus Amaterasu. All right, guys, I got some pretty exciting news here for the middle of this one. We're going to be dropping these all the way through the stream today, but let me set it up quickly, and you guys can all decide. You guys can all decide if you want to join in or not. But we've got some AOM keys to give away. So I'm going to set this up for you guys right now. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little giveaway in the chat. All you're going to have to do is, I think, type, it might be like exclam giveaway, but I can't remember. So we'll just sort that out. Alrighty, let's do that giveaway. Actually, give us a second. All right. Give you guys about 2 minutes here to jump into it. All right. I already have a giveaway running? No, I don't. Complete. Start giveaway. All right, you guys. Oh, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Excuse me. Let's try this again. That's better. All right. You guys can just go and head and spam exclam raffle, I think, on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, unfortunately, you can't really participate. You're gonna have to go elsewhere. I think if you're a Twitch sub, no, I don't think we're giving away any extra for Twitch subs. at the moment, but maybe for another one later. So this is just for everyone here. And when whoever does end up getting this one, make yourself known and I will PM you it through Twitch. I think I've got like 5 or something to give away, so that should be fun. All right, these guys are still getting ready for this next game. This stuff can kind of take some time from time to time. Actually, they are on the way, so we can get our timer here going. If you already have Age of Mythology and you get this key, make sure you give it to someone. Don't hold on to it. Don't sell it. Just give it to someone. Like, this game is so amazing. It's worthwhile sharing with your friends. Get them involved. We've got about 35 seconds left on this giveaway. We could talk a little bit about this matchup here. A little bit about this matchup, but I don't really want to. You guys are going to see it. Fushi versus Amaterasu. It's a very, very spicy one. There's a lot that can go wrong on both sides. Very, very important to be aware of like how much you take fights, where you take fights, why you take fights, and all of that other good stuff. So yeah, you got to be super, super careful. All right. And you can no longer enter the raffle, apparently. So let's pick a winner. Oh, Chemo King, the 67th. Chemo King, the 67th. Can you please say something in chat so I can send you a which key? A key. I don't know where he is. Wait. Chemo, no. Chemo King? 67. I think I got him. Go. All right. I will send that to you right now, and we'll go back into this into the shenanigans. Don't worry, guys. You're gonna have some more chances a little later. You guys are going to have a little more chances a little bit later. We've got a long stream ahead of us today. We've already been going for nearly 5 hours, and we haven't even finished the first best of 7. We haven't even finished the first best of 7. Are you kidding me? So you better strap yourselves in. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a very, very long day of many, many games. So yeah, there's potentially 2 more games here. Our next series is going to be Nullus versus decisive for another best of 7. The Challengers League finals. And then we have the grand finals right after, which will be Mista versus either Rappel or Moscow, whoever wins this one. So thanks for the gifted subs and everything, guys. I know we're not really we're not saying it, but everybody who donates and everybody who gives anything, I very much appreciate it. It makes this whole thing possible. Alrighty, guys, we're moving into game number 6 now. Fushi versus Amaterasu, an incredibly stressful matchup. This one is very, very technical, very, very difficult. Let's jump in onto the map step and see what we're going to be seeing here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. In the left-hand corner of the map. Still back up against the wall. When your opponent's on 3 wins, you're not any more up with the back against the wall than right now. It's Mosca. Mosca right here, right now, going to be doing what he wants to do. On the left-hand corner of the map, playing as Amaterasu. It is the Rapple. It's been an absolutely insane series. These guys have got to be incredibly tired right now. Like, the mental pressure of tournament, then playing a best of 5 already. This has already been a best of 5 in the amount of games they've played. Then they have to play 2 more, potentially. And then they have to know behind this that not only have they played a best of 7, but they have to play another best of 7. Of course, they do get a break, but that's a very, very difficult day of Age of Mythology, to say the very least. We've got ourselves Amaterasu versus Fushi on the map step. Let's check out the relics. Tearfing and Gantir's sword over here. Lifesteal from units plus 10% for the heroes. Dar's Scepter can make those farms cheaper. Always nice. 25% off there. Feather of Befang to take buildings down a little bit easier is very nice as well. And on the bottom side of the map there is the Gambantine. Odin's Wand. This one's really, really nice here for both players. As Rapple, he's going to be advancing relatively quickly here through Amenu Uzume, not going for his... Wait, did he? Hang on, I got to check. He didn't go for his upgrade here. He's forgotten Kagura, which is generally... I mean, he wants the faster advance, but you still want to get Kagura in because that Miko is just invaluable. It's like you're just saying no to a free villager, basically. It's not free. It costs 50 gold, 50 food and some favor, but still you're saying no to a free villager. Or at the very least, a free healer. But then again, maybe he's doing something different. Saving that favor for something very specific. But into the main base, though, we are going to be seeing that Zhan Nu. This is a really, really important god. I've been harping on about this for the majority of this tournament, but lots of players like to go Qi Yao with Fushi, where there's only a couple of matchups where it's actually better to go Qi Yao than it is to go Zhan Nu, in my opinion. This is such an important god. You get... The thing is, you get this tech here, which gives you, like... Every 5 units that die of a type, you get 1 back. So it's basically like a 20% off type deal. There's the Kamatachi going to be coming through here. And there will be a Solar Shield. No. No Solar Shield. The Goshin Boku tree is through, however. Did Rapple go... What did Rapple spend his favor on? He's getting himself a second Kamatachi as he charges in yet again. And the... Kwafu will simply pull back, and you are not... I don't even... You're not going to find value on this. The heroes are all in. The Kamatachi is going to go down as the Chillin chases this one away. Good control there from Mosca to get in and out of the town center, as the Chillin just needs to basically get that special ability in, and the Kamatachi will be down. Of course, it goes straight into that Goshin Boku tree, but not the biggest of deals. Over here, the Naginata Ride are going to be chasing down these pioneers for the time being, as they're going to be pulling back in underneath the town center. We do have the Halberdiers coming through as well. Here for Mosca as he pops through. Going to just get those guys healed back up with the Chillin. At least you want to be sitting there. And the game continues along with Halberdier, as it's going to be a stable and a guardhouse Rapple. So no Samurai. Playing away from the Samurai here is Amaterasu to kick this game off. Over onto this side, the Naginata Ride is getting pulled back. A couple more Kwafu coming in for Moscow. So he is going the economic route. This is very, very scary, though, Because you're, in spending all of this gold on these Kwafu, you're actually limiting the amount of usable gold from this home gold mine. Of course, if you can secure this second gold mine, no problems. But you're limiting that. It makes life very, very tricky. Over onto this side now. Naginata Riders do manage to sneak in as the villager will be able to get back to safety there. Villager's moving back up. Make sure you don't misclick onto the Peach Blossom Spring and lose that one. Well, not lose it, but lose the effectiveness of it there. As it's just pure defense right now from Moscow. He knows when you're playing against Japan with this Bushido thing, you really just don't want to take fights. Like, even this fight here is a little bit like, oh, I kind of want to take it, but I also don't want to take it. Like, of course I win it, but you're going to get Bushido in. So you've got to be very, very picky about the fights you take. As Moscow now moving across the map, we do see a villager. Does get to the tower there. Moscow still hasn't, does he have himself his Najar? I don't think he does. No Najar, and the villagers all have to sort of go idle here as well. As another Pioneer comes through. This Kwafu here going to get sent back over onto this side as well. Moscow's got to be careful because there's Kamatachi all over the place. As the Kamatachi in the main base with that solar shield coming through. Gonna be rushing around here, causing problems. I don't think there's a huge amount of issues here, but the entirety of the economy idled for a very long time as Rappel manages to get some nice pressure in just for a little bit. He doesn't get any villager picks, but good pressure. On the other side, let's have a little look here at these Miko. He's got 2 Miko. He's now getting himself that Kagura technology. And he has built the shrine off into the side of the map where it's relatively safe, I guess. And there's now some walls to come up finally here for Moscow. With the Kwafu building, they come up very, very quick. But Rappel can try and poke his head back in. He has to wait for the next solar shield to make anything happen. But this is all defended now, as that Kamatachi is not going to be able to make its way through. And Moscow still going to just sit in his base, play defense for as long as he possibly can. Taking a look at the gold mine of Rappel. He's still got a ton of gold there. And now the dojo drops. So it's time for some samurai. And time to make something happen here. As the Naginata Riders going to be charging in. Not able to do all too much just yet. One other tech here from Zhuan Nu, which is super good, and we have seen Moscow grab it, is that Divine Books. So it allows him to get away with just building 1 military camp. This military camp is worth, I believe, 2 military camps just in of itself. As we see over onto this side again. And he's, I don't know if he wants to grab that Peach Blossom Spring or not, but it's looking like he wants to get to that next stage. Now, the question is, are we going to see Taltier, which costs gold? Or are we going to see him go Gormang and utilize that forest protection to try and keep himself alive in this position? Meanwhile, another Miko has been built. Another Miko over here. And Rappel is going to be getting a large amount of favor in. And we are going to be seeing Gormang as the god of choice. So no Fey Beast. No, not no Fey Beast. No, what are they called? No Taltier to sort of eat up those samurai. But the question is going to be, what is Rappel going to be doing with all of this favor? What's the plan? Tengu? Raiju? Another Goshinboku tree? Just saving it for the Mythic Age, maybe? Or something even more crazy? Little bits of pressure here as the Machine Workshop coming up onto this side. This village is very low HP over here as he's charging into the main base. We do have Najar in as well to cause a little bit of issues for the myth unit numbers. And we are going to be seeing this little technology Katagi to come through, which is quite nice. You lose a samurai, you lose a Yari Spearman, you get a little bit of extra Bushido in. It also gives HP to those infantry units too. As Rappel is still just trying to pressure on the outside here. The Peach Blossom Spring getting eaten here means no gold from it. While he does get a ton of food in, what's he going to do with it? As the Chillin getting created, getting a couple of these guys in to help out. He does have himself that Najar, who's now gotten a little bit older. No longer Kid Najar, now Teenage Najar. As this has got to be the point of contention in this game, right? This is what Mosca needs to somehow secure. But the problem here is he doesn't have an answer for the samurai. He needs fire archers. He's now going to start building him. He has got that attachment in. As the Tao Wu comes through, going to send everything packing. But Mosca continuing to take this fight, pulling back, diving forward. All the other good stuff is now the Najar drops over onto those Kamatachi here. Second tier of Bushido does come through now, though, for the Rapple. Even if he loses this fight, he almost wins the fight. As the Halberdier pulling back, there's still not a significant amount of fire archers here. Only the one, basically, as the villagers will have to make their way over onto this gold mine. Javelin is to take out the Bushi as the two chillin' sitting there with a tiny amount of HP. Another Bushi ends up falling as the samurai turn, get that damage done, but Mosca has held. He's now on his second gold mine. He's in the heroic age, and Rapple, he is stuck in the classical age. He's about to finish up on this gold mine. Rapple's going to move up onto this gold mine there, but immediately a ballet through for Mosca, and he can start going for those very, very powerful White Horse Cavalry. On top of this, he can now move forward and eat these boars and stop feasting on the goats. Save them for a little bit later. Not only that, Mosca's grabbing himself Vibrant Lands. We've got the Shaft Mine, Bow Saw, a whole bunch of upgrades coming through as well. Rapple on the other side now, stable coming through. Over this way, the Naginata Riders just checking things out. Is there a relic that's worth grabbing? Tearfing Anganseer Sword is well worth grabbing. And at this stage, a little bit of a poke here from Mosca. He does need to see what army is actually coming this way. And he does spot the samurai. How many fire archers does he have? He's got 8 fire archers. On the other side for Rapple, like, what is the game plan? You got 86 favor in the bank. What are you going to spend that on? Just Kamatachi? I don't know if that's really going to do a whole lot. One White Horse Cavalry going to make its way up onto this top side. We'll see the villagers on this gold mine will get a little bit of damage done. Farms are actually coming through from Mosca. He's playing so safe with this. Of course, if you have yourself husbandry, being on boar is basically the same as being on hunt. But if you're not on those herdables, you can save them for later and they're going to get fatter. At the moment, they're only 221 food. They can get up to 300. There's the White Horse Cavalry moving down onto the bottom side, seeing more villagers to start slapping. Rapple is over here, though, with a couple of units, but that will be a dead villager. And I think Mosca, he's just going to keep on going after these. He's like, I'll sack a couple of units here for a couple of villager kills. No worries. Move on to this side, though. The Naginata Riders looking to poke forward, but there's just no weaknesses in Mosca's base. Whereas the weaknesses in Rapple's base are vast. This position, this position, this position, this position. Mosca can use those chillin' to walk forward, run forward, and use that special ability as well. Even more of these White Horse Cavalry are going to be coming through as the upgrades now queued up for Mosca. It's 177 pop for Rapple to 165 pop for Mosca. He's got one last house to come through. Charging forward at the moment. Taking this fight isn't a terrible idea. He does win. These are not Sashimon or Bannerman Naginata Riders, which you would see from Tsukiyomi and stuff like that. He's trying to poke forward. Oh, he does manage to sneak around the Naginata Riders, so he's going to be able to hit these villagers again. And I think they might all fall here as he tries to poke forward. And Mosca, that's going to be at least 3 villager kills, if not more. He charges in underneath the ballet at the moment, as this is going to be such a tough fight to actually take, as he's going to be returning in now. Heavy is through the forest protection to come in. And it does look like Mosca has been somewhat caught out of position here, but the Tao Wu to fix it all up there as the units get sent flying Those fire archers need to be targeting down samurai. This is an incredibly difficult micro fight for both players, but Mosca's just got the advantage because he's got the ballet, because he's got the forest protection, and Rappel needs to pull back. As the army on the front here melting yet again. This Tao Wu is just getting so much value in this army. Take a look at it. He's turned off the special ability from auto casting so he can control it when he wants to, as he dominates the army, and Rappel has to pull back again. Now these villagers will make a retreat away from that gold mine, but Mosca here sees blood. The heavy Bushido is through, but it's going to be a long, long ways until champion. So you can stick it out. You can go for a big attack. The safe way to play this for Mosca is to just grab that second town center now. Like, you win the fight. Fantastic. Get your economy going. Secure these back gold mines over here, this hunt, and all that other good stuff. Look for raids with your White Horse Cav. No problems. He does check up here. These villagers over onto this side do get spotted. He sees the watermill. Rappel tries to get cheeky with it, a little bit greedy, but he's spotted, and those villagers will all end up dying. He's not going to be able to fight off two heavy White Horse cavalry there, as those four get picked off. Main base under a lot of pressure as well. Rappel is trying to get Raijin through here, but even if he gets it in, he's still short units. Pumping out Samurai, actually, as he feels like that's the only way forward. As the heavy Naginata riders making their way across the map here, trying to pick off little bits of units. This is the only way back into this game for Rappel. It's picking off straggler units and getting villager kills, but pulling back underneath that forest protection. Going to get that healing in from that one as well. Good control from Rappel, though, pulling back out of it and takes down two horse cavalry there, but villagers falling in the main base. The main town center going to be under attack here. This is a little bit dangerous. One thing that Mosca does have, though, is the Vanish. He can run if he wants to. The Tao Wu going to be protecting himself a little bit here. And Mosca goes, all right, I'm out of here. See ya. Clicks that Vanish. Retreats back. Picking villagers off onto the left side as well. He could turn and actually take the fight if he's feeling like it's not too bad, because this is perfectly fine for him. As the White Horse Cavalry do end up falling. Picks off a couple of Naginata riders as he pops out of the Vanish bubble there. And Mosca going to be returning back in. 57 villagers to 34. And now a talent center, and now the ballet. So Mosca, he's covering the potential problem here, which is, well, his opponent killing off his army and him not having any income to rebuild it. He's got enough favor for another Vanish, but has to wait another 100 seconds for it. So he's got to be careful not to get caught out with this, because, man, those Kama Itachi, if they can get the special off, they will melt this army. Without question, they will melt this army. So you've got to be so careful. The Tao Wu can be used here to send everyone packing, giving a little bit more of an edge here, as those Pioneers need to kill off the Kama Itachi very, very quickly. Good control here from the Pioneers, targeting down those Samurai for the time being. Military differential is very, very quick here. Those Kama Itachi still getting value as the Tao Wu's special comes back off cooldown. Can use that one again here for some very, very nice defensive movement. As the army for Rappel is starting to fall, and it's looking like Mosca, in front by nearly 15,000 score, is going to be taking game number 6, and we are going to be moving to a game number 7 here, ladies and gentlemen, as Rappel taps out, and we've got a game 7 for the final, well, for the losers bracket final. If you don't love Age of Mythology, I don't know who you are, why you're here, but this is it. This is why this game is so insanely amazing. Two insanely competitive players going at it against each other, and we're going to a game 7. I don't know what else to say. This is Age of Mythology. This is the game that we're playing here. Post game tells a million stories. The resource differential was so close, but as soon as Mosca got let out of his bubble, he was stuck in his base trying to just defend. As soon as he got let out with those White Horse Cav, Rappel just couldn't defend the raids. He didn't have he probably should have moved on to this gold mine. He probably should have walled off here. I mean, I'm saying this now that I've seen the game, but if he just came over onto a very nice defensive position where those White Horse Cavalry couldn't get value, he wouldn't have fallen behind on the economy, and he probably would have been fine. He wouldn't have lost any villages to the raids, and yeah, he would have been fine to continue along here, even after losing that first fight. But yeah, in losing all of those units, Mosca just takes the reins and he runs with it. He's in his element right now. We got one final game here to see who moves on to play the Mista, who's sitting there waiting, just going, I don't have to do anything here. I'm just chilling, guys. I'm waiting for you. Who's gonna come in? Who wants to play me? Who wants to play me more? That's the big question. Let's jump back to the draft. See what they're going to pick for game 7. There's 2 gods to pick for each player. It's a big decision. Alrighty. We've got ourselves one final game. And to be honest, I don't think it's going to be a surprise what these guys pick on this one. We're going in onto the map, Mirage. We've got... Actually, there is somewhat of a surprise. There is a potential here for Rapper to go 2 ways in this final. And same for Mosca. Both of these guys have got very strong gods for this final map. But it's going to be the gods they picked very early on in this draft. They've saved them for the final game. It's going to be an Isis versus Tsukiyomi on the map Mirage Affair here. And, well, this is going to be fun. I don't know what else to say. This is going to be very, very fun. Both these guys, absolutely insane gamers. Whoever wins this one or whoever loses this one, hold their head very high and say they put an insane fight up. I'm sorry to say to my guys in the Challengers League waiting here, gonna have to wait just a little bit longer. You're gonna have to wait just a little bit longer. We've got one more game to go. Let me just double check and see if these guys have drafted at the moment. They have. So we'll be able to jump straight into our games with Nullus and Deceive next. But these guys are off to the races. We've got ourselves another 4 minutes and 30 seconds here until we get into this next game. All right, guys. All right. Let's do another key giveaway while we wait. Let's do it. Like, this is worth it, right? This is the time to do it. Let's do another little cheeky key giveaway. Here we go. You got another 2 minutes. Spam the thingamajiggy and do all the good stuff. Alrighty, so this final matchup, Isis versus Tsukiyomi. We have seen Tsukiyomi on this map before, but what? Well, Isis is an absolute menace on this map, but so too is Tsukiyomi. They're both timing attack gods, which is absolutely wild to think about. If you're a timing attack god and you're playing against the timing attack god, like, what else? That's absolutely insane, right? Like, that's all. I don't know what else. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right. So what's the actual threats? So Tsukiyomi has this one threat with Oni against the Isis, which hits much harder on Mirage than it would on any other map. He's also got... Wait, does he have Oni? He does, right? No, he doesn't. He doesn't have Oni. He's got the Heroic Age Tengu and he's got the Raiju. But Raiju and Tengu don't cost food, so you don't really have that. You'd have to get to the Mythic Age and go for something like Omuraki Onmoraki seem really, really strong versus Egyptian because you can just utilize the special ability from range away from the priest and then send those guys straight in. Wait, he does get Oni? My brain is... There are Oni. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oni on this map are going to be really good because you're just going to beat through everything. No one... Like, I was in a bind the other day. My opponent had full pop army and I had like a half pop army with like 5 Oni in it. I won that fight, basically, against ISIS. So you guys might say I harp on about the Oni too much. But the thing is about it, is all you got to do is get to an equal position with those Oni intact. And they are an absolute menace. An absolute menace. All right, we've got about 20 seconds left on this little cheeky key giveaway. If you do end up getting picked... Actually, no, I can just find you. It's all good. It's all good. What have you guys joining at the moment? What is this exclaim join thing? I don't even know. You guys are crazy. I'm forgetting things, guys. Don't mind me. Oni and mountain giants on steroids. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, let's pick a winner. You got Colo Kopos. Congratulations, my guy. Colo Kopos. Can you just make a little comment in the chat quickly for me? Colo Kopos. There you are. Let me send you a cheeky little whisper with a thing. If you've already got Age of Mythology, make sure you share it with someone who you think would be very much interested in giving the game a go. Share the love of this beautiful game. Should be in your Twitch inbox. But, alrighty. One final game for these two players. Well, one final game for one of these players in this tournament. The other player is going to have to play a potential at least another 4, if not another 7. A potential 7. So, yeah, there's a lot going on here. There is an absolute bonkers amount going on here. All right, guys. One last game. Onto the map. Mirage. Let's not wait anymore. Let's just go. Let's just go. Onto the map, Mirage. Been an absolute insane tournament thus far. Both of these players have fought so hard to get to this moment. It might not be the grand final, but it's going to have to feel like it right now for these guys. One final game after playing 6 already. The first best of 7 they've played in this tournament. So the first time they're going to be feeling this pressure in the left-hand corner of the map. Moscow. In the right-hand corner of the map, he's been in this type of position before. It's the Rappel. We're on the map Mirage. Tsukiyomi versus Isis. And a very... The nerves. And a very, very spicy matchup, to say the very least. Now, for those of you who are new here, what's special about this map? Well, there's backfish. This just changes the dynamic. And of course, there's also town center shenanigans here, which changes the dynamic as well, over on this position as well, for example. There's back food. The map is shaped a little bit differently too. But it's mostly just the fish on the back that changes everything. We've seen a myriad of different gods on this map. We've seen Zeus, we've seen Freya, we've seen Gaia, We've seen Kronos here. We've seen Isis and Tsukuyomi. So, all in all, it seems like there's just a ton of different options here. Let's check out the relics and see if there's going to be anything super impactful for game number 7. Dwarven Horseshoes, movement speed plus 5% there for the cavalry. Over onto the right-hand corner of the map, there is the Harmonia's Necklace. Villager Gold Gather Rate plus 10%. Over onto the left-hand corner of the map, Pelt of Argus, Line of Sight plus 6. Onto the bottom side of the map here, we've got the Ogre Bitten Helm. Hit points plus 10%. Is there any relic that matters? Well, Ogre Bitten Helm is really nice here for the Egyptians. You're probably going to be needing some priests. I don't think there's... Like, Dwarven Horseshoes is obviously really nice for Rappel if he wants to go into Naginata Riders. It's going to shut down those Chariot Archers from Isis really, really nicely with that extra speed, especially if you mix in a couple of Kitsune as well to boost them up. They can go up to like 7 speed or something. It also affects the Yumi Horse Archer, which might be enough to make it feel very, very useful. But that's kind of it. Of course, if Mosca spots that relic and he just has his priest over there, he can just take it all the way back home. No real problems. I've been having this thought lately about the relics, and let me know if you think I'm really silly, because I do this a lot. I come up with silly ideas. 50% of the time I'm right on these ideas, and 50% I'm wrong. So you got to be careful when you take my thoughts seriously. But don't you reckon relics should be off limits until the heroic age? Then you actually have to fight over them. 50% right is an exaggeration. Oh, I thought I had good numbers. What a weird take. Okay, fine. We got Inari Orkami over here for the Rappel and Anubis for Mosca. I'm not exactly surprised to see this. The boosted Spearmen are going to be really, really helpful. Anubite's also going to be very, very helpful for the Isis here against those Naginata Riders. Inari Orkami obviously is like the only god that we see Tsukuyomi going at the moment. I have seen a couple of people like dabbling with ideas of using the Goshin and Boku tree and things like that for myth unit orientated strategies, but with this Ivory Netscape technology attached to Inari Orkami, it just doesn't make any sense to be going for a myth unit orientated strategy without that tech, because it's just so good, so impactful. Meanwhile, the Anubite making its way across the map now. Gonna be looking for just a little bit of pressure as immediately a guardhouse to kick things off for Rappel. Whoa. Hello? Hello? What? You can't get this... I don't know what Rappel is cooking up. Oh, he's waiting for the Plague of Serpents. Who drops Plague of Serpents on the water here? That doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, you drop it on the villagers. Of course. That makes way more sense. Now the ramming Wasson has been wasted. Ha! Ha! Big brain got bigger brained. Alright, Anubite trying to finish off this commoner over here. It's getting healed up. It might actually end up falling. It's trying to get to the tower. One villager down. Mosca diving back in. Is Anubite will be getting taken out. So Anubite and a Plague of Serpents for a lot of idle time and a villager kill and a ramming Wasson. So massive gains for Mosca. Spearmen now making their way over onto the right-hand corner. Going to be looking for another little bit of a raid over here. Got to be careful because there is that Jiragumo sitting on this position. And she will be an absolute menace to defend this type of an idea from. Or these type of raids. Over here, random cow getting brought back home. Also the bottom side, the Kitsune just checking things out. There's the Spearmen. We'll make their way over onto this side, and we will be seeing Sobek coming through pretty quickly here. Meanwhile, as the Spearmen come through, Rappel does need to react. This villager here is right for the picking. it kind of gets missed as he just dives in here. Jurugumor picks up one spearman, immediately going to take that one out. One villager goes down for 3 spearmen. That doesn't feel worth it, but maybe it is. Armory down for Rappel. Rappel also going to be wanting to go to the next stage, even though Sobek has come in first and foremost here for Mosca. The Hachiman will be coming through very, very quickly because you do have that Skiomi bonus. 56 seconds there for the heroic age. Onto the front side now. Monument to the soldiers. Mining camp will come through. And also Necropolis on the way. You also have to remember with Hachiman, or not Hachiman, with the advancing to the next age as Tsukiyomi, you do actually gain villagers with that bonus. So it's kind of like, a pretty hidden OP unique bonus. Like an extra villager just because you aged up. That's pretty nice. There's a spearman diving in onto this spot. There's one villager here. That's a really nice little defense there from Rappel with the Miko. It's really tough to kill off villagers if the Miko is there, and Rappel baits that in nicely, gets another spearman. But not very much loss there at all. Migdal Stronghold, however, for Mosca to come through. And now the Tengu is in, and look, there's a lot of favor in the bank. So options for Rappel at the moment. What can he go for? Option number 1 is drop New Moon on the temple and just make a ton of Tengu and just go raiding. 1 town center game. Of course, this is incredibly strong. Option number 2 is to just go up to full armory upgrades and then drop New Moon onto the armory. Obviously, also very, very strong. And he's just going to start building his Tengu out for the time being. There's the Tengu over here, kind of losing its life for the time being. Apple does turn his special ability off there, so finally someone's listened to me about the Tengu at the moment. Oh, over onto this side, the Rock just hanging out, checking things, what's going on. As Prosperity gets dropped, New Moon comes down, and to some degree here, actually, you know what? No, it doesn't. I was about to say to some degree, this Prosperity kind of counters or it kind of keeps the differential equal here in terms of like upgrades and things. But Prosperity gives about 30 gold per villager, and there's only 13 villagers, so you're looking at like 390 gold or something, which is a lot less than full bronze. One of the fishing ship upgrades. Mosca's got his, and Rappel is missing just a little bit there. As the camel riders are going to sneak around the side. This is all walled up nicely. There might be an angle to get through here. As the camel riders will come through. You just take out one camel rider there. But the army here for Rappel is looking like he says, let's take a fight here. Unit's going to be diving into the Migdal Stronghold for the time being. The second Migdal Stronghold attempting to come up as well. Is it going to be finishing in time as we got the Locust getting dropped down onto this here as well? But Tsukos on the back, they're going to be getting sniped too. Over onto this side though, the unit's popping out, sniping a couple of those Bushi on the back there. And Rappel does overcommit just a little bit, but he has to keep staying in here. He can't drop the Swampland either because of this monument to the soldiers. And now Rappel pulls back. Picking off a couple more units there as the Priest Pharaoh trying to take out those Tengu, but Rappel will be able to get back to his main base, heal those up, and keep going. But he's losing villagers in the main base. Mosca is going for kills. He's still got an advantage. Even after all of those villager kills that Rappel got, Mosca managed to equalize here. It's 23 to 22 at the moment. 23 to 22. Another Tengu over here going to be looking for raids into the main base. The villagers can come forward here and grab this Zebra sitting under these Migdal Strongholds. A very, very nice defensive position. Armories into the main base now for Mosca to boot up to the top side, just checking things out, making sure it's all copacetic here as the upgrades are going to slowly start coming through for Mosca, but Mosca still has to just play defense here. Rappel coming over onto this gold mine. He's going to be in this position like he was last game where he's got weaknesses all over the map. Weaknesses here. Of course, the fishing ships are not that weak, but weaknesses here. But the army for the moment here sitting on this position, so no weaknesses. It's completely safe until Rappel drops a castle or something like that. So the camel riders are just going to be pulling back over onto this spot. Rappel continuing along. Mista prodding everywhere. He probably wants a mythic age in as fast as humanly possible. Oop, this one Tengu not gonna get caught out here as he does jump in, but you just run away from this one. You don't want to fight the Tengu while he's got that special up, because he does go up to an insane amount of armor, like 60% plus. You can see he's normally at 35%, but he goes up to like 60%, especially when he's got the upgrade, which he does have. Nice. Rappel is going to be searching all across the map for things to kill, but look at this from Mista. He's on the wood here. He does have wood here, which is probably not that good. Pull back over there and grab some cows and he should be okay. As a monument to the villagers coming up onto the front just to slowly start wandering forward here. The thing is, with the Tengu, once they jump in onto a villager, they two-hit them. So with that special being activated. And Mista very quick to run away here. You don't want to be close. Pulls up to the top side of the map. One villager here will get spotted. Dives. A little bit of a misplay there from Rappel. Probably could have got a couple of villagers on that retreat, but not going to come in just yet. As Rappel or Mista pulling forward. Still not able to use that swampland. As the villagers popping back out again. Only a couple of priests here to deal with this as he's going to try and charge forward. But this is Yadi Spearman. We've seen this sort of a situation before. In the other Egyptian game that Mista played, he was having a lot of trouble here with those herdmen. He did manage to find a win there, but this is an incredibly equal position. As the monument to the villagers goes down, but there's still a monument to the soldiers behind this. So there's still no real way forward here. So the chariot archer is going to be getting some kills. Heavy now through for Rappel as well, as he gets to that Bushido tier 3. I mean, do you want to mix in? He's got the counter with the chariot archers to take out the Yadi Spearmen, but he has to poke them down. Do you want to build Axemen here when your opponent's got Yumi Horse Archer and Naginata Rider? I don't even know if you want to. It's pretty difficult to make that work. But then again, you get a front line against the Yadi Spearmen, so then that's really useful too. Or alternatively, you can actually go into a whole bunch of Petsukos here, which makes the most sense. He's got a lot of favor in the bank. He could drop another prosperity. As the Tengu going to be diving forward here, and Mista will have to be doing some very nice garrison micro. Pulls back the villagers onto this position. Will have to dive into a Migdol or something. Those are going to start getting murdered here as well, as it's looking like Rappel's advantage at the moment is absolutely gigantic. The camel riders diving around here as the chariot archers getting split off. Mista trying to micro this. The camel riders can pop through here, but even this with the Yadi Spearmen on top of those chariot archers getting bonus damage, so tough to make this work. As the monument to the soldiers goes down, is there a potential way to drop this into the main base? Yes, there is. Swampland comes forward, and Rappel in complete control right now as he's going to be murdering villagers left, right, and center. Mista just can't get himself stabilized here. Onto the bottom side there, the Naginata Riders getting somewhat picked off. Mista's got 27 villagers. They're all idle in this town center and this town center. Still no answer for all the Yadi Spearmen. There's no Axemen here. There's no Axemen here for Mista. I think he must need them. The chariot archers are just not cutting it at the moment. As the Migdol strongholds on this front, yeah, they're getting some value. They're killing a lot of units here. Look at that damage. But it doesn't matter because the units are just going to keep flowing in here. The villagers make their way over onto the left side to grab at least a little bit of gold. So these chariot archers are going to be picking off a couple of units here. He doesn't have full armory upgrades, but he's kind of getting close. One Migdol goes down. Walkini Nushi is also pre-queued. Getting that means he's going to have to face full iron next. As Rappel goes, all right, that's enough damage. Let me pull back, and we'll start thinking about what to do next as the castle gets dropped. Villagers over here getting chased down by the Tengu, as the villager differential is getting absolutely out of control here. Deletes the marker to try and get back home. Rappel could also literally just use these Tengu to massacre these buildings. They do so much damage. Over onto this right side now. The villager's trying to grab this gold mine. Rappel does spot it, and he dives over there with that jump. Not quite close enough there, but Mosca trying to raid himself back into the game. The castle's already up, and with a wall, you can't get past that. There's the Pharaoh over here trying to deal with those Tengu. A couple of chariot archers in as well, but they don't... Oh, they do have ballistics, so they're going to get some good damage done. But into the main base, the Tengu going after this Townsend are just idling villagers. He doesn't even care if he's losing them here. Just the idle time on those villagers is just brutal. A Townsend are going to come through. Walkuni Nushi is in, which means very shortly, 90 seconds. For a Mythic Age, for Ombaraki, for full iron. And a very, very difficult game ahead for Mosca to try and bring this one back. To the very top, at the very least, a priest. I mean, I actually think these Tengu will kill the priest off. I mean, they're low HP, but they're not that low HP. As Mosca now does manage to get in onto this position. He's still looking for some villagers to kill. But I feel like at this point, even if Rappel had 0 villagers, I don't think Mosca is ever killing his army. There's a couple of villagers do end up going down. The Yati Spearmen are over here to defend. Walkuni Nushi comes through as the Sacred Gate gets dropped down. New Moon onto the armory for full iron. As the army returns back over onto this side as those Camel Riders just out of position, and these are this full iron Naginata Riders with bonus damage versus Cav. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I've actually got Champion Stable Soldiers also going to be coming in manually, because why not? It's the Ombaraki in, starting to rain some fire from the sky. These wretches, they're not that strong unless you get that Plague Bringer technology, the bonus, the boosted Ombaraki, but man, they're very, very strong regardless, and it does look like that is the game. And Rappel manages to pull it together here and break through the ironclad defenses of Mosca as he wins in 7 games for the privilege of going on to greet the Mista for his rematch in the grand finals. I don't know what else to say. Better luck next time for Mosca. An insane path journey through Champions League Season 4. 3rd place is an insane effort. He's shown everyone how strong he is. He can compete with the best. We're going to have to wait for the Rappel versus the Mista because we have a completely different series to come at you. We've got the Challengers League finals to come up. Nullis and Decisive have been waiting patiently behind the scenes. We're going to have the shortest of breaks before we jump into it. Don't you guys go nowhere.